coffee in the morning, gotta have a caffeine. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. Must shit, juice, shit, set up feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning, gotta have a caffeine. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. Must shit, juice, shit, set up feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in here. I hope that your Monday is flowing nicely. We don't have any of those Monday mishaps going on. It is Monday, right? It is. Oops, phone is on. There we go, down. All right. Good morning. Welcome in, Forrest. Welcome in, Pammy. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we'll have some more people. If I can talk this morning, come in and join us soon. I gotta chill. I've been busy this morning. Had a lot going on, but it's all done and we are here. Okay. Did you guys have a great weekend? I had beautiful weather and I just frolicked in the backyard all weekend. Actually, I didn't feel that great. I was kind of like, kind of like had an autoimmune flare up. Didn't feel good. It happens from time to time. But I fixed myself, I think. I'm feeling much better this morning. So, but I had a relaxing weekend other than that. Did a lot of research on Saturday, actually, looking into the bodies in the bayou in Houston. Now, here on the channel, we have done a couple of shows on Lady Bird Lake. Joe's come over. I've been over on Joe's channel, so we both have covered it pretty extensively. We went over the map, the locations where all these bodies were turning up, went through the list of the people who had been identified, tried to get like a little bit of background on them, things like that we were doing. And then all of a sudden, it kind of goes quiet at Lady Bird Lake, and now they're all popping up in the Houston bayous. And we're like, what? What kind of word salad did I have to hear on Saturday when I watched that press conference? I was like, what in the world? So we're going to unpack all of that here this morning and get busy on that. Found some interesting stuff when I was researching Saturday morning. And like, I woke up, got my coffee Saturday morning. I was like, do you, girl, like usual. So I started, and I spent about 3 hours on it, and then I put it down for a while. Some very interesting stuff being said in the case. So we will take a look. Mama Bear, thanks for coming in. Carrie, good morning. Always good to see you, ma'am. And welcome in, everybody. Before we get started, let me double check something really quick. The other day we were on the live and I checked the docket in the Idaho case, and some things had been unsealed. And it was just a witness list were unsealed, and there's nothing too terribly outrageous that we didn't already know with the witnesses. But we're going to do that on tomorrow's show. I'm not going to go into reading all that now and discussing all these darn witnesses. We're not even having a trial. So I wish they'd get to the good stuff that we really, really, really want to see. But it's interesting to see the witness list and things of that nature. Now, if y'all don't mind, if y'all haven't seen, go over to the community page or go to the page here on the channel's page and click the like button on my short videos. especially my last one, because I'm just trying to dispel some misinformation out there or show a different side to some information that came out. Um, come across my radar yesterday, so to speak, that someone got a FOIA request, I guess, in the Idaho 4 case, and they got the printout of the URLs he was searching from his phone that the Celebrate couple spoke about. And apparently, it's attached to Radford University. And they're like, "Oh, this means it was a university. It was just schoolwork he was studying on Christmas night for a course that he was about to be kicked out of." But the Radford University website is the website who maintains and runs the Serial Killer Timelines website, where he was searching Danny Rawling and all the other people. So that's why the ULR comes up Radford University. Now, I don't know what he was studying. I'm not here to make that decision, but I'm here to tell people why he was looking at Radford University. That's where the website came from that he was looking all the information up on. I guess they didn't do their homework well enough to figure that part out. Just saw that it was a university, like, oh, it's got to be school related. Nothing to see here. Poor guy. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because I can't stand that stuff. It just like, ew, that's so irritating to me. But y'all go over and give it a like because it needs to be out there so people can see. And then I don't care what they think once they see it, as long as they see it, right? Does it even matter to some of them? People who want to know truths want to see that, because what if you're just trolling around and you stumble across something like other stuff and you're like, well, that's got to be the truth. Anyway, it's just a way of trying to get it out there. Um, it sure helps, I think. Some of this stuff is so silly. It's like, y'all just take your time and do a little bit of research. You can see where things are coming out at and what they mean. I don't know why everybody's so hot to trot to take up for that dude, and I don't know. I don't get it. I can't. My brain cannot compute it. All right. There's also another story I'm working on. I had mentioned, I think it was about a month, well, probably the beginning of September. I reached out to somebody about being a guest on the show, and she agreed, but I knew it would be after September because her schedule's pretty busy, especially lately. Um, and then I saw a piece yesterday, and I thought, you know what, that ties in pretty good with her coming on the show to talk about this subject. So I'm putting together um, that I'm going to be working on getting her on as a guest and setting up that show for you guys coming up real soon. Moving on to a lot of different kind of things around here, just trying some things, seeing um, what you guys like as well, and bringing all kinds of aspects to these cases outside of just the horrendous cases, all kinds of aspects into true crime. So we're going to be diving into some of that coming up here on the channel. So Joy, welcome in, welcome in. Butterfly's got something to do this morning. She may have to just be popping in and out of chat for a little while. Yes, good morning and wonderful chatters. Yeah, y'all join the conversation. Y'all know how we like to roll. Y'all know it. Okay. So Austin and Houston, and Butterfly, correct me if I'm wrong, because she's from the area down there or over there. They're over there from me. I had to go point that way. I'm like, where am I standing at? Am I in the Gulf right now? Anyway, we share a Gulf of something. Anyway, so Houston and Austin are about 3 hours apart or 165 miles. And the reason I needed to know that, because I need to know if I'm looking at the same person responsible for Houston and Austin, or multiple people's. We'll get to that part. But I wanted to know in my mind, exactly how far these two cities are from each other. Because you have to wonder, Because I know that there's been a lot of bodies over the years found in both areas, right? Different times, whatever. But now it's like all of a sudden they're turning up all over the place in both towns, and then it stops in one and it picks up in the other. So I'm like, well, did somebody get tired of being in Austin and headed down to Houston? I don't know. Now, according to the authorities out there, don't be talking about a serial killer. That's not happening. There's nothing to see here. You guys, please stop it on the social media. Well, can't help myself today, Mr. Mayor. So they're about 3 hours apart. Now, the Houston population is about 2.39 million people. Now, to get a little bit of perspective on that, the closest town, city to me rather, is Pensacola, Florida, with a population of only 53,898 people. I couldn't imagine living in a city with over 2 million people. I don't know if I could handle it. The town that I live in, my little city, has only 11,000 people, half of what Letcher County, Kentucky has. So when I tell y'all I know tiny town America, I ain't joking. Like, I'm dead ass serious. Oh, shit. Dang it. I'm already cussing. Am I 7 seconds into my video yet? I had to watch a YouTube video on language. And YouTube itself says, no, we do not have a list of words because that's like censoring your freedom of speech. But I have to be careful about what I say and how I say it. Houston also has around 2,500 miles of bayou. Now, with that said, I also live on the Gulf of America. Florida has miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of waterways. We got canals that your little house can back up, not your little house, your pretty big house can back up to a canal. You can live on a creek. You can live on the river. You can live dead on the Gulf of Mexico or America, whatever it's called nowadays. Lots of water. Downtown Pensacola. You can walk all around downtown and you're going to walk right along the water's edge. Guess what happens around here? People don't fall in and drown randomly all over town. During the summer, drowning deaths pick up because of the Gulf. People come here as tourists on vacation and they don't understand the Gulf. They don't look at the warning flags, they don't know what they mean, and they don't understand the undertow. And they don't understand how fast you can get caught up in a rip current out there, right? So accidents happen. But for us to have random people falling in the water who have been raised around the water, most of them, it just doesn't happen. Oh, there you go. There you go, right there. How long did y'all have to hear that, Sunflower, right? She grew up on Long Island in Suffolk County. For those of you who do not know, Rex Herman's playground. Sunflower, I'm so glad you were not a victim, but I don't know. You weren't in that line of work, I'm assuming. Spent years hearing nothing to see here, while every news report another body found. Yep, if that tells y'all anything about that statement. Exactly. How many years do people in that town here, in Suffolk County hear nothing to see here when there's, all Gilgo Beach bodies turning up all over the place? Oh, we got a guy sitting in jail right now, right? About to go to trial for, what, serial killing? Mm-hmm. Hey, Pokemon, welcome in. Oh, yeah, don't go in when them red flags are flying, ma'am. Good choice not to go in. It's tragic here because people don't understand, and it can take you in a second. When I started looking at the map, I'm thinking a bayou. I know what a bayou looks like. We got several around here. I went and looked at this one specific location because I had the addresses, and I'm like, that's the bayou? I was a little stumped. But I'll show you guys on the map what I'm talking about when we get to that here in just a second. Y'all had to know it was BS sunflower. You know when you're being fed BS and word salad, right? And when they're speaking to the general public, part of us aren't a part of the general public. We're like, we need more. We demand it. So there's a lot of potential if there is a serial killer, right? If there's a serial killer running around the town in the city there with 2.39 million people, you got your pick. Now you have to remember, not all serial, because I heard there's going to be a criminologist. Oh boy, who comes out and says some bizarre things. I found them bizarre for a criminology person. Oh, the victims have to be this. They have to be that. They have. Uh, did you go look at BTK's victims? No rhyme nor reason. No particular type of woman that he liked. No petite blondes. No sex workers. Rex Horman had his type as well. But the only thing that can connect any of these bodies together in the nature of that, like that, only 30 males have been identified, or 30 of them are males, and around 60% of those are age 30 to 49. There were two teenagers. One of those I know was accidental drowning. That was the paddleboarder, I believe. But according to the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences, which is also the medical examiner's office there in Texas, 9 bodies were discovered in 2023, 20 in 2024, 24 bodies in 2025. Like, goodness. 23 of the deaths were undetermined. 15 were determined to be an accident. 13 of those were drowning. 9 are pending investigation. 3 were confirmed suicides, and 3 a homicide. Of the 3 homicides, there have been 2 arrests, with a third pending investigation. That's a lot of drownings for grown people who, when I looked at the map, I'm like, they literally have to leave the walking path and go down to the water's edge on purpose. You don't just accidentally. And look, if they want to claim nothing to see here, no serial killer, people are just falling in. Then we got to ask, well, are you keeping your city safe from falling into the water when you know you got waterways everywhere? Shouldn't that be a priority? Kind of like around Lady Bird Lake, putting up guardrails, putting in the lighting, all of the things. That should be priority if you are not concerned about a serial killer. So when you come out with your little word salad press conference, you should be reiterating the fact that we're going to beef up our walkways along these bayous. We're going to make the trails better. We're going to put in some guardrails. We're going to put up some warning signs. We're going to put up some lighting. We're going to educate the public. There's so much they could do. Ah, citizens, you're on your own. Watch out for that water. Don't walk in. So you might as well take down all the red lights in the city, correct? If we're just going to leave it up to the people to protect themselves, not even a need for a red light. We can just roll up and take turns. Like, everybody's going to do that. Hell, I live in, okay, the town I technically live in is outside of the town with 11,000 people, so I got a couple hundred. But at the 4-way stop down here, because it is literally a 1-horse town, I got a 4-way stop. And people run you over if you're not careful. So I couldn't imagine living in a big city without a proper red light. But hey, if we don't need to beef up the waterways, why are we worried about stuff like red lights? I'm just using that as an example. Okay, thank you, Butterfly. I will take a look at that and we'll add it to the list here. That's an interesting article title. She found something here where APD collaborates with Texas State University on studying, examining the deaths of Lady Bird Lake. That ought to be interesting. Somebody's actually looking into some of this stuff with it seriously, right? Besides coming out with word salad. We don't care for word salad. A lot of the bodies in Houston were turning up in the areas of the Buffalo Bayou, the Greens Bayou, the White Oak Bayou. There's different names for all of them. The Houston downtown campus has the bayous around it as well. Now, only one victim so far has been a student from the university. Um, there's some things being said about her death that I don't. We're going to take a look at a news clip about it, because if you have evidence someone walked into the water of their own accord, what type of evidence do you have? Do you got feet print? Do you got sliding marks where they slid down the hill into the water? They leave a note. I walked in of my own accord. How do you know that? We have video camera footage of the young lady, but there's something missing to her story. Her name is Jade McKissick, and she was University of Houston downtown campus student. Apparently, she was a campus resident and a student employee. She went missing on September 11th from the 3700 block of North McGregor Avenue. She was at a restaurant, Burgers and Daiquiris, and apparently she was there with some friends and left. And why she left is weird, because you're at a bar or at a restaurant pub that serves drinks, alcohol and sodas. But she left and went to the gas station and purchased a drink. Didn't take her phone with her. Then the camera sees her walking off towards the bayou. And she's found 4 days later in the bayou. Now, there was a video put out by another creator. I'm not familiar with the person at all. But they pulled video from, I guess, Jade's social media. And to me, what I saw, she looked like a normal 20-year-old girl trying to figure out life. She would say things on her little videos, but nothing to me that was like, she's got mental health issues. She might have been questioning things, but I don't know that that girl I saw in those videos was to the point where she wants to walk off into the water, right? I didn't see it. Can it happen? Yeah, of course. You never know what a young person's mental state is, honestly. Sometimes they can trick you, fool you, wear a mask. They will not be honest with how deeply troubled they can be sometimes, unfortunately. I don't know the backstory on her like that, but she appeared, by all accounts, to be a happy young woman. She was a strategic communications and advertising major. She had a good school career her whole life. So that's what we do know about her in her situation. When we look at the map, you guys will see how strange it is that someone just ends up down in this ravine. I called it a ravine, but what it is it will run back into the bayous. And all these bayous take the water down toward Galveston, into Galveston Bay, and you got the Gulf right there. Water has to go somewhere. When you got this much water around a community, you have to be super vigilant. You think that a lot of these places are already equipped to handle that, especially if they're going to build walking paths along these areas, right? They should intentionally go in and make them safe at the same time they're building them. But if you have an older area of town where they were built decades ago, have those been beefed up to keep up with the growth of the city, the growth of crime? Unfortunately, we all know that every year, some cities, just the crime rate grows and grows and grows. Some do a great job and it goes down, a little bit. Some, it just continues to rise. Another reason to be that more vigilant when you're out and about. And we're going to hear someone talk about that in just a minute from the Houston area there. Because when the mayor comes out and downplays all of this and wants everybody to shh, don't talk about it, because y'all are just, making the people nervous. Well, heck, I want them to be a little bit nervous. I want that woman to get in the car and lock her door immediately. I do that in my little 11,000 town population. I do that right here in my tiny one horse town. When I get into the car from the gas station, click, lock. You're not getting in my car. Bubba, not today. You might be having a bad day fighting with the woman. I don't know what's going on in your life, but I'm not about to be your victim if I can help it. Even right here in tiny, rural, northwest Florida, smack dab in the middle of the woods. I don't trust them. Y'all don't be so trusting out there that everybody you meet is going to be a nice, good person. These YouTube streets are teaching us they're not. They're fakers everywhere. Hey, Irish Amy, come on in. Right, Pammy? You have to immediately lock them doors. Don't get in that car and check that phone and you got to message your kid back or your man or whatever, your mama. Lock the door first. My mama's going to say, you can wait to text me. You better lock that door, girl. And even if you are a super vigilant person and you walk around with your mace and all your things, still somebody could come after you at any given time. We have to be careful. We can never be too careful. Okay, we're going to take a look at a news clip here. And to kick us off here with this. Sometimes I think you may frighten the public a little more by being evasive with your "we know better than you do" stuff. This is nothing to see here. I would be outraged. I would be like, well, then if it's not a serial killer and they're all accidents, do something. Now we've heard through our Lady Bird Lake dives, right, of the overwhelming homeless population in the area, especially near Lady Bird Lake. When Joe was there, boots on the ground, he ran across a couple of encampments, homeless moving around in the middle of the night. He was on the phone one night with me out there when it was happening and just trying to gauge the area, right? Because one of the victims at Lady Bird Lake, I just cannot get past it. They said she was a homeless lady, and they said she fell into the water while trying to stay warm. Was there evidence of a fire? What do you mean she was trying to stay warm? How do you know that? Did you find her in the water with like 3 or 4 jackets on? Is that how you know that? Or was there evidence of a small fire near the bank? Did she slip and roll in trying to get an extra stick for the fire? I don't know. I can't make it make sense. I don't like it when things don't make sense in my mind. Okay, let's pull this up. Okay. They don't like it when we get all questiony, do they? They're like, oh no, here comes those social media armchair sleuths again. We're like, well, actually, yeah, here we are. This is a clip from CBS News, their local affiliate. And let me get the screen up so I don't forget. I got to go let my dog in while this is starting to play, but I'll be listening. Okay.
Texas now in the push for more information about people found dead in different bayous around Houston. Officials say 6 bodies have been found in Houston's bayous within just 2 weeks, and records show at least 22 deaths in Houston bayous so far this year. Let's bring in CBS News National.
22 dead in just this year. They had 6 back-to-back bodies in late September going into early October. Like one a month or every 2 months, but you had 6 back to back to back, and they were all accidents or alleged accidents. Can we sue the city?
Reporter Karen Waugh live for us now from Houston. Karen, understandably, many people in the city are afraid that there is someone dangerous out on the loose. Is that a theory?
That's definitely a theory, Elizabeth, but Houston officials say that is not the case. They say these 22 deaths are not related. Officials are really trying to stop these rumors that there's a serial killer on the loose in the city. But understandably, people are afraid that violent crime is growing. You can just imagine 22 deaths in this year alone in nearby bayous. And of those 22, the medical examiner has only released the cause of death for 6 of them. The medical examiner says of those 6, 4 of them drowned, 1 suffered a cardiac arrest, and another died by suicide. And also, of those 6, 3 were accidental, 2 involved drugs, and another involved blunt force trauma, officials say. Elizabeth?
Blunt force trauma. Drugs. Because one of the theories that we have coming out of Lady Bird Lake, considering how many little bars are all right there, are they coming out of the bars drugged? Is somebody spiking their drinks while they're at the bar and then following them out the door? Because we got a live victim from Lady Bird Lake, and they think that's what happened.
A lot of horrible coincidences there, Karen. And Governor Greg Abbott addressed public safety today in a press conference. What did he have to say?
Well, Elizabeth, Governor Abbott says overall crime is down in Houston. So that is the good news. But still,
They still got that same governor guy? Oh, Lordy, I stopped watching politics a few years ago. Okay, enough said.
Creating this new task force to specifically target repeat criminals, repeat offenders in the city of Houston. He did not relate this new task force to these bayou bodies. So
a new task force to put together to tamper crime, because you and the president's all about that, but nothing to do with Lady Bird or Houston bayou bodies, because nothing to see there. That's weird. What's the task force for? To curb, is it like a lot of gang violence in Houston or something? You need to get under control as well, but sir, you've got a lot of bodies turning up in your waterways. You don't be like Fled Cruz and run to Mexico.
those do not have anything to do with each other. But he's sending a flux of Homeland Security and state troopers to swarm some neighborhoods, he says. Abbott says President Trump does not currently have any plans to send the National Guard into Texas to deal with crime like the president has done in other cities like Memphis, Portland, and Chicago.
They're going to swarm some neighborhoods. Hunker down, butterfly. If you see them coming, don't act like you're not home. Like, I know you're not doing anything wrong, but you can't trust them.
Listen.
Most violent crimes in the Houston area are committed by repeat offenders. Today, we're putting those criminals on notice. We are coming for you. We're going to target you, arrest you, and put you where you belong, which is behind bars.
Now,
okay, you're concerned about repeat offenders now in 2025. I think you're missing the ball by a couple years, but okay. I guess they'll get to the bayous in a few years.
Governor Abbott did not address questions, did not answer questions about whether this new task force, whether this increased law enforcement presence was actually wanted or welcomed by city and county officials. Noticeably absent from the press conference today were Houston's mayor, Houston's police chief, and the Harris County sheriff. Elizabeth?
Well, missing. Should we send out a search party? Their word salad gets worse. It really, really does. And we're going to take a look at some maps here in a few minutes, but I'm going to play out you guys another piece. I have the full press conference as well that the officers gave and the mayor. But I want to take a look at what they have on, this for Jade. Let's see. Let me get my list back up. I mean, it's great and all to get task force to get the crime under control in these major cities, but sounds like they may have a crisis on their hand they're trying to avoid. Okay. This one talks more. This is when Jade was found and the 6 bodies that turned up back to back. It's from like about 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Okay.
Houston police are investigating another tragic find, a woman's body recovered from Buffalo Bayou. Scooter riders first spotted the body just after midnight at Commerce Street and Milam Street in downtown. This is the sixth body recovered from a Houston bayou since last Monday.
Hysteria and misinformation online have fueled speculation over a possible...
Hysteria and misinformation online. Sir, I got your video from online. When are they going to realize they're one and the same as we are? None of us are better than the other. I will never be an investigative reporter, or I'm not even trying to get on court TV. I don't even like showing my darn face. I'm going to talk and tell stories. That's what we're going to do. So if we're the problem, y'all need to get over it. The problem is the people in the city not wanting to do anything, not the ones asking the questions. Now, I got to come out here and do it responsibly. I'm not naming a suspect or persons of interest, but I'm questioning your word salad. And last time I checked, that was still free to do.
Serial killer in Houston. It is a fair question given the frequency of bodies recovered from the city's bayous, but both HPD and Mayor John Whitmire insist there is no evidence of a serial killer. Investigators say there is no evidence as of yet to link these 6 deaths either.
But some people are still suspicious, as you can imagine. They want to know how investigators can be so sure the deaths are not connected.
KPRC2 reporter Joy Addison has answers. Joy, you spoke with a criminal justice professor.
Well, Keith and Danny, that's right. I wanted her to weigh in now that 15 bodies have been found in Houston area bayous this year so far. 6 of those found since last Monday, and one of those just last night. She says serial...
Right, Riley. I was like, what? That's a bayou? That was my first thought. That's like a ravine that leads to the bayou. Okay.
Killers are rare and have very specific patterns, and in this case can be ruled out even though we don't know the specific causes of death just yet. Police say last week 5 bodies were found in a 5-day period. 4 of the 6 bodies found in the last 2 weeks are unidentified. One of them was University of Houston student Jade McKissick, and one is still pending family notification.
In all of the 5 incidents, the medical examiner's office will determine the cause of death.
But police have told us there is no connection and they don't suspect foul play.
There's still work that detectives can do while that ruling is coming forward. Interview witnesses, document what the scene looked like, try to recover surveillance footage, any digital evidence that we can find.
Mayor Whitmire was adamant that no one needs to worry about a serial killer and admonished people for spreading misinformation.
Admonished. Like, I don't know you, little bald man. Please do not admonish me, because I'm not your girl. I'm not that woman. I don't go sit down and be quiet because that man told me to. Shoot. I'm about to get up and pop off.
Online. We went to a local criminologist who explains why a serial killer has been ruled out.
For something like a serial killer to happen, there needs to be commonality between the victims.
Oh. Said the criminal professor, there needs to be a commonality between the victims. To be a serial killer? There was no commonality between BTK's victims. The only commonality between Rex Herman's victims, they were easy targets because they were sex workers he thought nobody would miss. I got questions.
Serial killer tends to focus on a particular age, race, gender, occupation. When
some do. Some absolutely do. And as a professor, you know that, but you also know, I don't know that they know, because let me tell you, I think a lot of them have missed the mark about Brian Koberger too. You might have had him pegged a little bit 2 years ago, but y'all are still missing the mark on your new hybrid killer.
They operate.
We weren't able to find any kind of typical pattern. It runs the gamut. Genders, ethnicities, age range.
And when it comes...
Now look, if you are a person who's just obsessed with killing, does it matter what your victim looks like, male, female? Does it matter if she's blonde or brunette? Does it matter if he's got a beard or if he don't? Or do you just need a victim? One report we looked at here on the channel, They're tracking how many long haul truckers right now, suspecting them of being serial killers. Some of them probably do have a type, some may not. She's a criminal expert on horror movies. Oh, Pokemom's always bringing it.
As to why all of these bodies have been found in such a short period of time. She says things that affect decomposition, like the weather and temperatures or other objects also in the water, can play a factor.
Bodies can sink, and then when they start to decompose, the gases make them rise, then they become more visible. Sometimes bodies get caught on things and may not come into view until later.
Now,
I'm glad she explained that, because someone like me who's been raised on a river would never understand. But I guess there's folks that don't get that you can get caught up on debris in the water. Yeah, the river I just went to last weekend, if you don't know that river like the back of your hand, it can mess your world up, especially when the water's low, because guess what's just beneath that water? Massive logs and trees. And my dad and my brother know where every single one is, but don't think they're not quite aware they can become dislodged and moved when the waters rise. We get a hurricane, fills them up, they leave their banks, that stuff's shifting and moving. It will settle down somewhere else later. Some never move, right? Yeah, you can get hung up on stuff and be down there longer. But I think we're getting a lot of word salad still.
Tuesday press conference, the mayor says investigators are certain that alcohol, personal issues, and homelessness played a role in some of the deaths, but he says this does not apply to all of them. Reporting from the
Okay, so Houston and Austin want to continue to upplay their homeless population as if they're all homeless because we got so many. Well, dang, what are y'all doing about that? I understand some make a choice, but some do not. Some suffer mental illness, some suffer addiction. Some don't even know what town they're in at the moment. They have dementia. And I know that taking care of the homeless population is a huge feat for any city or town. I get it. But y'all are focusing on swarming neighborhoods for crime, but not fixing homeless or the waterways. You think they would want to fix whatever's causing the problem to make them all fall in. Homelessness and shitty little sidewalks, well, let's fix that. Yes, I remember you telling me that, Butterfly. She is in the Houston area, guys, and she was telling me back when we were doing Lady Bird Lake research of how there's a lot of homeless in the area. Now, again, I expect there would be because they are so much bigger than my town. We have homeless here. Under the downtown bridge, interstate bridge, they set up a homeless encampment down there, and people like really showed their tails about it. It wouldn't have been so bad if they'd have kept a little clean down there, but they didn't do that. They just come in and made a mess, right? People are like, oh, heck no, we're not having it. They ended up doing, going back and forth and all this, and then they finally trying to get them all help. But when people want to yell about homelessness and then they see it with their own eyes and they start raising Cain with their city, well, what do you want them to do with them? Are you about to donate a whole bunch of money so they can build some little homeless houses, get them into therapies, whatever? What are you going to do besides call up your city and complain about the homeless you just saw and you don't like that visual? I'm all about the visuals. I love my backyard where I can just sit and serene in peace and see nothing but nature. No highways, no noises, all the things, right? What are they going to do about any of it? Yeah, they caused their own death, Riley, because they're homeless and cold and they fell into the water all by accident. And now they're going to claim this 20-year-old girl just walked in there on her own accord. Okay.
Newsroom, Joy Addison, KPRC 2 News.
Our top story here tonight, the bodies being found in Houston.
Okay. That was a report from KPRC Channel 2 there locally. It wouldn't be so alarming if there just weren't so many I'm willing to take the serial killer theory out of the equation, which leads me back to what are you doing to make your city safe? I wouldn't feel safe living there, and I would never venture off down there near that water. My town don't even know how to put a good guardrail up and a light and a sign that's warning me. It, I don't go into shady places on purpose to begin with. I'd only walk where it was nice and neat, like a park-like setting or something, but I wouldn't go anywhere near the waterways if I knew my city wasn't doing all they could to protect me from the water. Right? They're like, "Hey, y'all come on," because apparently there may be a whole lot of more of those SKs out there than we not willing to accept, because I think us in true crime are willing to accept whatever the hell because we know, but there's a lot more out there than we want to believe there are out there apparently, and we're going to get into that in a minute. Okay, so this piece is I think this is a little bit more about Jade. Whoops. Hold on. I don't have the screen up either. Okay. I avoid downtown, never been to Rainy Street. Yeah, because Rainy Street is with the one in Austin, right, that runs near Lady Bird Lake. Is it super crowded down there, Butterfly? I could imagine trying to drive in the town with 2 million people. I get frustrated in a town with 53,000 people. I don't even like going over there because of the driving, right? I'm like, there's too many people on the road. I couldn't imagine. I'd probably be one of them. Well, I can't walk everywhere because I'm not safe. I have to waste my money on darn Ubers. Goodness, see, I got issues.
Have been found in Houston's bayous within just 2 weeks, and records show at least 22 deaths in Houston bayous so far this year. Let's bring in CBS News national reporter Karen Waugh live for us now from Houston. Karen, understandably, many people in the city are afraid that there is someone dangerous out on the loose. Is that a theory?
That's definitely a theory, Elizabeth, but Houston officials say that is not the case. They say these 22 deaths are not related. Officials are really trying to stop these rumors.
All right, this is the wrong one. We've already seen that one. Oops. Yeah, Joe's got some footage from down there. He didn't take his body cam. Remember he said he had one, but he didn't take it. He was down there filming from Rainy Street and from Lady Bird Lake, the trail back behind the hotels there. That's when he was on the phone with me, like at midnight, and this guy, and he's down there, boots on the ground, looking into all these people disappearing and falling into water. He sees a random lady out on a little deck platform that you can look out onto over Lady Bird Lake, and she's standing out there at midnight in the dark, completely alone. Joe barely sees her, but he continues to walk. But he tells me about her. We were both saying, that's not safe. We wonder if she knows. The next thing you know, this guy is walking up to Joe and he's saying, hey, can you help me? My wife is missing. I'm like, missing? Joe's like, missing? And I'm like, Joe, you just saw the lady on the platform? And he tells the guy, oh, yeah, I just saw a lady down there. We don't know if that was his lady or not. But it was weird that he saw a lady all alone in the middle of the night in the dark by the water. And the next thing you know, this guy is saying, hey, my wife is missing. It's like, what? Get out of there, Joe. Run to the hotel before you're the next guy in the water. Right. That's a lot, Butterfly. That's what I'm saying. If it was a couple or not that many, I could see that it happens. Statistically, it probably is a thing, right? I'm not an idiot, but come on. And then you got 6 within 2 weeks of each other. What was going on during that 2-week period? Some drinking festivals that we are unaware of? If they were having these large festivals downtown, lots of youngsters down there drinking and the homeless people coming and hanging out too, okay, maybe, but that's not happening. Forrest, you remember that night. You remember. Okay, so this is the. Hang on, I did it again. We've already seen it. So we're going to go move on to the press conference because we're going to have to hear this word salad from this man. Yeah, those shows are up on Joe's channel. One of you mods want to drop Joe's link, they can go check those out if they want to go. And I'm not the best at making and creating playlists and keeping up with them. I try to remind myself, but I don't know that my Lady Bird Lakes shows are even in a playlist. So my bad, y'all. I'm a hot mess express over here at times. It is what it is. I'm not no court TV and I don't got no fancy producers. It's just me. And you're probably thinking, well, as a creator, Salta, you need to do that. But I'll get there. I'll get there. Okay. Okay. This is we're going to watch the full press conference with the Houston mayor and the police chief to address the bodies found. And then we're going to take a look at a local city leader there and what she has to say. And I absolutely, y'all should have heard me because when I was reviewing this, I'm sitting there yelling out, yes, ma'am. I'm clapping for her. I'm like, oh, wow. If I was on a live right now, this would be insane because I'm like, tell it, ma'am, preach it. I could get behind everything she was saying. And the way she was saying it to me was super impressive. But we'll show you her in a second because this guy's got something to say snarky about her, I believe. And then when I watched her, I was like, why is he all snarky about that? Oh, wait, because she's not buying the nothing to see here stuff. That'd be why. No visiting anything named Lady Bird Lake. Yeah, it sounds haunting, don't it? I have rivers around here. We don't have like quote unquote lakes. We do got some bayous, but that's because I'm on the water. Okay, so I'm going to start this. I'm going to let this play all the way through. Well, I may have to stop it occasionally and comment, but I will be in chat with you guys watching it at the same time. It didn't want to play. Hold on. Swamp signal happened. I gotta come up with the new names. I don't really live in a swamp. I live in the woods. Wood signal happened. That don't even sound right. Yeah. You know what their problems really are? When every time we hear a story and they're coming out and attacking social media, they're afraid of social media. Social media can be a bad thing sometimes. We've seen it in the Idaho 4 case. It's in the Delphi case. It's there. Karen Reed, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. There's your prime example of how social media can derail an entire case because of a push and a narrative in a PR controlled setting. You have to be careful with your social media and your mainstream media. But they're not liking us. They're afraid. Because they know darn good and well, not everybody out here is a conspiracy theorist. They know we have legitimate questions. That's what their problem really is, in my opinion. I've been known to be wrong. Okay, so let me get this up now. It appears to want to cooperate. All right. Share. Just like no kayaking, no kayaking and paddleboarding for butterfly down there. Like, nope. Don't go down there near the bayous walking around either, girl. We need you. I need you right here. All right. So this is going to start the press conference held by, when was this? Hold on. Where's my date on this? I always like to know. Oh, wait a minute. Why is it not? Because I think the day after, this was 2 weeks ago, I think the day after the press conference was held, they found another body in the bayou. All right, so this is approximately 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to let this start. If it will start.
Either social media, elected officials, candidates, the media. We do not have any evidence that there is a serial killer loose in Houston, Texas. Let me say that again. There is no evidence that there is a serial killer loose on the streets of Houston. If there was, you would hear it from me first. This is being held to make certain that everyone knows we operate in my administration and HPD in total transparency. What we know and can release to you, you will know as soon as anyone. But at some point in time, we have to let HPD complete its work, give you the facts, look at individual cases. These 5 tragic drownings discovered over a 5-day period is alarming. One is too many. But if you allow HPD to identify the individuals, do their investigation, you will see why we have the best police department in the nation. Our dive team regularly assists other agencies. So I'm before you today to let you know that enough is enough of wild speculation. It's very frustrating to me to be at home and watch the news or social media and see people spread what I know to be false. And so today we've brought the chief, captain of homicide, to inform you at what stage the investigations are. Now, I grew up in Houston. Unfortunately, drowning in our bayous is not a new phenomenon. It's an alarming discovery. We have 2,500 miles of bayous or waterways in Houston, Texas. We have homeless living underneath the bridge. What do you think when a homeless person dies from an illness, diabetes, or cancer? What do you think his friends and associates do? They do not take him to a funeral home. Unfortunately, the homeless, when they pass, often end up in the bayou. Reason why we're working so hard to get the homeless off the streets of Houston. Alcohol plays a major role. Mental health plays a major role. Unfortunately, there are 2,500 miles of bayous, and people are exposed to them. Sometimes foul play, often not. Accidents. So I'm here today to thank HPD, its investigators, and to make certain that the community knows that while you're working, raising your family, sleeping at night, 24/7, 7 days a week, HPD is doing some of the...
This man said, unfortunately, when the homeless die, their homeless friends are just tossing them in the water, sir. Nowhere else to go. That bothered me when he said that. That really bothered me when he said they just die at the homeless camp, and they're all like, oh, well, nothing, we're not going to call nothing, no ambulance, no, we're not going to do anything but roll him down to the water and another one bites the dust. Are you kidding me? Oh.
Best investigative work in our nation. Makes me proud to be mayor of Houston. We do have challenges with public safety. One of the reasons I ran for mayor. But a serial killer on the loose is not one of our challenges today as it relates to public safety. Yes, recruitment is at an all-time high. The cadet classes are full. We're headed in the right direction. But today we're here to allow the chief and the captain to let you know exactly what the facts as we know them to be today. Chief Diaz.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to thank our media partners for showing up and reporting the facts with us. Our dive team has recovered 5 bodies from bayous across the city of Houston between September 15th and 20th. There's no evidence, and I repeat, no evidence, to suggest that any of these incidents are connected. In all of the 5 incidents, the medical examiner's office will determine the cause of death. The investigation into these incidents is pending the determination of the ME's office. For us as an agency, rumors stir fear and anxiety in our communities. It's important to rely on verified information and investigations. So I'm going to bring up Captain Zia. He's going to cover the 5 that happened in the last week so that you can have the facts as we have them at the moment. All this stuff is preliminary. Again, we're not doctors up here. The medical examiner will make the final decision on the cause of death. Captain Zia?
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. So I just want to reiterate that in all 5 instances, the ruling in regards to the manner and cause of death are still pending. So the first incident was September 15th. A body was recovered in Brays Bayou at 4998 Spur 5 Freeway. That's Brays Bayou before 10 a.m. The ME's office identified the deceased as Jade Elise McKissick, 20 years old. Preliminary investigation indicates that there were no signs of trauma or foul play, but again, I reiterate that we have to wait until the actual autopsy results come out. Another body was recovered on the same day. It was located in Hunting Bayou at 13,400 East Freeway at about 11:50 a.m. The ME's office has not identified the deceased individual in that incident. The next one was September 16th. Body was located at White Oak Bayou at 2200 White Oak Drive at about 1:25 p.m. Again, the ME's office has not identified the deceased individual. There was one on September 18th. Body was located in Buffalo Bayou at 400 Jensen Drive at about 2 p.m. ME has not identified the deceased in that incident as well. September 20th was the last incident. Body was located in Buffalo Bayou at 900 North York Street at about 8:25 a.m. The ME's office has identified the deceased in that individual, but because we don't know whether the next of kin have been notified, it wouldn't be right for us to identify that individual at this time. And I just want to reiterate that I understand social media is the medium of communication in today's age, but a lot of times there's a lot of unverified information that circulates. And our job as detectives and as an investigative body is to follow the science and the evidence. And that's what allows us to be able to do our job, and that's what we're focused on.
Any questions?
Any questions?
The non-identified victims, do we know if they were homeless?
I can ask. Well, because they're not identified yet, we don't know that yet. So if you don't have, an example would be if you don't have any form of identification on you when you go into the water, and our dive team, which by the way does an amazing job, recovers the victim. They secure the victim, and it goes to the medical examiner's office. So the medical examiner's office will then determine dental records, fingerprints, those kinds of things to make sure that we have accurate information, and they're the experts at it. So for us, it's a recovery, and they make the determination whether it was a drowning or some sort of foul play based on science and evidence.
Chief, what about...
Sorry, Grizzy?
Well, the number we have for this year, for 2025, I know it was 5 within a so many day period, but altogether we have 14 that we counted.
Right.
And some of them were not homeless. We have a student from U of H. We have an executive from downtown who would go jogging along the bayou. What can you say about that?
Well, I can just, out of respect for those families, People have complications. People are complicated. And we, as a police agency, don't know what is going on in their personal lives. So we follow the science. We don't judge people for the mishap, for what they're going through personally. As a police department, we're here to help the community, not judge. Whatever happened in their circumstance is their business. And we, as an organization, we're fact finders. We report the facts, and that's it. So that's the 14 number is correct.
Fact finders.
But one is too many. Ms. Winfrey?
Are you able to say what the age range is pretty broad, or the gender broad?
Captain Z, you want to address that?
So we weren't able to find any kind of typical pattern. It runs the gamut, genders, ethnicities, age range.
Do we?
Again, we've said it a couple of times. That has been determined. Again, the dive team isn't the investigator. Dive team is the recovery component of our job. That goes to the medical examiner's office, but we treat every single one as its own event. Yes, ma'am.
So like the mayor mentioned, this is just part of living in Houston. I think she said 14 that were recovered this year. Is that like a higher number?
You know, that's a great question. Thank you. Last year there were 24. The mayor's mentioned one is too many, 2,500 miles of bayou. Yes, ma'am. Go.
They want to continue to stress this 2,500 miles of bayou. Sir, they're not turning up all along that 2,500 mile stretch. They're like pretty much in a little concentrated area. What's going on in that little area? We're concerned about that part of the bayou, not all them other miles of bayou. Jesus, we get it.
Well, obviously, it's been repeated by the professionals. Every circumstance is different. Some of them are personal decisions. Some of them involve alcohol.
Some are personal decisions. Like Jade, you're going to claim? Rest in peace, young lady. Personal decisions to walk off into the water. Okay. I've never been in that mind state, so I don't know how I would come up with a way to do that. But I don't know if walking into the water doesn't sound easy to me. I'm going to tell myself, you can't breathe, you're drowning, get out. I'm not going to hold my breath until it's over. I just find that to be, why put myself through all that? Now, with trying to identify a homeless person or an unhoused person, whatever they're called now, a person who doesn't have a home. Some people absolutely choose that lifestyle by choice. And I know that because I know somebody who did that. I knew his sister. And I remember one day she's telling me about how he disappeared one day and they just didn't know where he went. I'm like, well, what do you mean you didn't know where he went? Like, what? I couldn't imagine. I got 6 younger siblings. He liked to hop trains and just take off. He didn't want nothing to do with nobody. Well, they didn't know where he pretty much kind of stayed in touch, right? But for like 10 years, they didn't know where this guy was. They assumed he hopped a train and just left. He did. Found himself in Nebraska, got into some trouble. I'm not even sure what he did, and landed himself in a Nebraska prison for 10 years, and his family never knew it. Then when he gets out, he hops trains back to Florida. So if he didn't have any identification on him and things of that nature, right, and he's hopping across country on trains, if something had happened to him in the process, how long would it have taken to identify that man? So I get some of them, it may take a long time to identify because they move through the country, they move through these big cities, and they don't stay in touch with their families. You may not have seen them for years. And there are people out there who have a family member they have not seen in years, don't have a clue where they are, unfortunately. But outside of identifying them, you have to determine how they died. And I don't care if you can't put a name on the person, they still deserve for someone to care enough to figure out what happened to them. My goodness. And if they're going to keep on about their miles of bayou, then y'all have a very unsafe city.
And so we have to examine each and every individual. I'm not certain, other than we do have barricades along our bayous. Unfortunately, sometimes people drive into the bayous. And
I don't think I've heard about any of these bodies being pulled from a car. The ones we're discussing, the ones you're holding the press conference about. People have been known to drive right off into the Gulf over here and right down into they don't even realize they're going down a boat ramp and right off into the water. That has happened. You got to hold some folks' hands through life.
I don't know of a fail-safe way when bayous are such a part of our lifestyle and our environment, other than everyone should be smart. We should look out for each other. But I think when the facts are reported from these instances, you're going to see each one was very unique. Some of the individuals were facing challenges, and it just concerns me.
Some individuals were facing challenges. How many of your 38 bodies in 2022 alone, 24 in 2025? How many of those had challenges, sir? And how do you know that? You don't even know who these people are. Don't know much about their lives. But he's got it all figured out.
That misinformation and speculation has been driving this for too long. So I said today, enough is enough. Let's bring everyone together.
Oh, enough's enough.
You know, those individuals you just mentioned, Grizzly, we don't publicly know their challenges. One is too many. As a father of 2 grown daughters.
So you need to beef up safety around your bayous in the downtown Houston area. You need to also implement some better mental health resources for the people who are having problems.
The U of H laws.
Oh, and also help your homeless population because it's out of control.
Is tragic, but so were the other individuals. But we're going to roll out at the appropriate time what their cell phones revealed, what their families revealed.
We love to know what cell phones revealed. That's like our jams. That's our go-to, man. Where's the phone? Get the data. Let's do. Boy, they're homeless, sir. Do they have phones? Their government phone? If they were receiving services, probably.
And you'll see that in a city of 2.3 million people, it's very challenging some days for some of our residents.
The city's population makes it challenging for some of their residents. Oh, it would affect my mental health for sure. But not to the challenge. I wouldn't be so challenged I'm about to walk down there into the water. I'm packing my bags and getting the hell out of there. I'm gonna hop a train.
And certainly, no one was implying, Grizzly, that everyone on this tragic list was homeless. I simply pointed out for those that are concerned, the real world out there.
He's going to point out the real world to us because we are all in the dark and live with our heads in the clouds where everything's rainbows, puppies, and roses. No, we don't live in that world, sir. It's full of demons and devils.
Deal with encampments. Encampments, quite frankly.
Hybrid killers on the loose everywhere. I got 5 of them right now sitting at home plotting.
Or along the bayous. It's where they bathe.
Ooh, okay.
Sometime with their friends, they go under and don't come back up.
Okay, so I get they may have to bathe down at the water. I bathed in the river growing up. Me and my cousins were just laughing about that the other day. But they're out there with their friends, and sometimes they go under and don't come back up. The friend doesn't try to save them. The friend doesn't call the authorities. Hey, we were taking our bath. He never came back up. My God, help me find my friend. He's implying homeless people just don't care about each other. If you die in the homeless camp, then we're just going to throw you in the ravine.
And they end up on our list. We ought to do everything we can to get the homeless in a shelter. We're working as I talk to get the homeless in a shelter. But
oh, we should dig into that. Butterfly, is he really working on getting the homeless into shelters? They got some fundraisers going on, some events scheduled that we are unaware of. In a city of 2.3 whatever million, Houston, Texas, I'm sure there's a lot of old money sitting around there. And those wealthy people like Fled Cruz and his wife Heidi, they just love donating money to charitable functions, right? Especially the homeless. Gets you prompts on social media. Dig into their pockets a little deeper and tell them not to run off to the warmest climate the next time y'all go into a deep freeze.
the time frame of these 5 tragedies did set off an alarm. I understand that. But I also understand that's why we've got HPD and the medical examiner and the media, quite frankly. I understand the media's got a job, but I do.
And they always say that. We understand the media's got a job. Do y'all? Y'all just don't like the job and you want to call the shots. You want to be a shot caller in a world you're not living in. You want us to stay out of your little, we're the investigative people here. We got this. You just go report it. Well, Delphi's defense attorney says it's time to be journalists. I can pretend and call myself one, or I can just be one. I'm just me talking with my friends about these weird cases.
I do say enough's enough on speculation out of respect for the families and also for 2.3 million Houstonians and our region. We have challenges. We're meeting those challenges. But a serial killer loose in Houston is not one of our challenges today. And I would hope that you would spread that word. The losses are great. The U of H student, unfortunate, as are the adults. But I understand how.
Sir, you're one student. She was an adult. She was an adult too. But you claim she had mental health issues and just walked into the water of her own accord. Possibly, but I haven't seen evidence of that yet.
Some candidates and elected officials want to excite the vote.
He said elected officials want to excite the vote is what he's about to say. Are you talking about the lady we're going to look at next? Because I liked her 1,000 times better than you.
Voters in their districts, but this is not the time to play politics. The U of H campus is in no greater danger today than it was last month. They've got a good police department. I went to U of H. I understand its challenges of walking across campus in the evening. And we're doing everything we can. We're collaborating with U of H police, TSU police, all of our agencies.
Walking across campus in the evening can be a challenge. We don't need a challenge at the college campus for the young people to try to move about. Why is that a challenge? Not enough university police officers? Don't hold nighttime classes? What's going on there? We got a university here and security is of the utmost importance. I got FSU a couple hours away. Few hours past that, we got Gainesville. So we don't have a lot of issues around here with campus security, keeping the young people safe while they're away from home.
But like I said, we've got the finest professionals that you can find. People ask us for assistance on a routine basis. And so
Aren't they supposed to? Or don't call them no more, guys. Do not ask for their assistance anymore on a routine basis because they've got bigger things to do, like solve all these murders. I mean, all these accidental or these suspicious deaths. That's what we need to call them, that.
So I'm just here to assure Houstonians we're on it. And these will be investigated and reported as soon as possible.
Mayor, you spent a long time in Austin. They deal with their own serial killer theories and stuff like that up there. Now we're dealing with it. What do you think is behind these rumors? Why do they tend to take hold?
Sensationalism, and I can't speak for the Austin circumstances, but think what you just said. They've got their serial killer, implying that we got one.
He said they got their serial killer, implying we got one. And then look at this goofy smile. So you think Austin's got a serial killer, but you don't? Is that what you literally just said? Or are you saying people are saying they got one, they're saying we got one? What? That guy behind him's like, oh, they could be right. Look, my goodness.
I don't know the facts of Austin. I do.
You don't know the facts of Austin. I think that it would probably be a good idea for y'all to reach out to Austin to see, is there any correlation between our victims in any kind of way, just to be safe? A little task force, y'all can do it in secret. Send a couple investigators down there and meet with their investigators. Do we have something here or not? That would actually be the right thing to do as an investigator. Delphi investigators allowed Kentucky investigators to come and talk to them because Kentucky felt like their crime scene fit the Delphi crime scene. Ritualistic behaviors.
I do know the Houston facts, and there is absolutely no evidence that would support that there's a serial killer. Austin, I can't speak to it.
For the chief, for the captain, it sounds like a lot of the work that you guys have to deal with.
Right. It's like, that's why I looked at the distance between Houston and Austin. 3 hours, 165 miles. Between where I'm at in Tallahassee, Florida, about 3 hours, about the same distance. It don't take me long to get down there if I wanted to pack up and leave and move to a new territory. Hell, I could go down there in one day, be there that morning, right? Get up at 6 a.m. I'm there 3 hours later. Guess where I'm going to be come evening? Right back at home. Right back at home. In a few hours away. They think we're idiots.
Are you aware of, one, any delays that are delaying the work that you guys are then able to do? Or can you speak to us about, like, the condition that these people are being found in that might make it more difficult to actually, it says 3 of them are still unidentified from the last week.
Yeah, so as far as the ME's office, we can't dictate how long it takes them to complete an autopsy. It's not a simple process. There's a lot of steps that have to be taken in it. So I'll defer that question to them in terms of how long, what their process looks like. Just because the ME is pending an investigation doesn't necessarily mean that the investigation stops. So there's still work that detectives can do.
Think what you just said. They've got their serial killer, implying that we got one. I don't know the facts of Austin. I do know the Houston facts. And there is absolutely no evidence that would support that there's a serial killer. Austin, I can't speak to it.
For the chief, for the captain, it sounds like a lot of the work that you guys have to do once these bodies are recovered depends on whatever the medical examiner's office finds. So are you aware of, one, any delays that are delaying the work that you guys are then able to do? Or can you speak to us about like the condition that these people are being found in that might make it more difficult to actually, I mean, since 3 of them are still unidentified from the last week?
Yeah, so as far as the ME's office, we can't dictate how long it takes them to complete an autopsy. It's not a simple process. There's a lot of steps that have to be taken in it. So I'll defer that question to them in terms of how long, what their process looks like. Just because the ME is pending an investigation doesn't necessarily mean that the investigation stops. So there's still work that detectives can do while that ruling is coming forward. Interview witnesses, document what the scene looked like.
You know, if they have the addresses, like I do, of the ones that were discovered in September, this is down in the city. There should be cameras, a lot more. And if y'all, and by the way, go put up a few up along these trails, like we suggested at Lady Bird Lake. Some trail cams aren't that much. Install a CCTV type system down there. But there's got to be all the businesses, because that's how we can see Jade. And then when there's going to be in one of the video clips we come looking at in a few minutes, where she leaves that gas station and walks toward the Buffalo Bayou. But you would think these locations we're going to look at on the map, there'd be enough video to pull together something, right? Kind of that Mark Sanchez guy. They can't see him pull the old man out of the truck. That's what happened for whatever reason. We see the truck come into the alley. We see the guy jogging, walking, leaning, doing weirdo stuff in the middle of the night like he's hyped up on something. But we don't see the part where he pulls the old guy out of the truck. And I can't even call him an old guy because I'm near that age and I don't call that old. But everybody on the news is what they call him, the senior citizen. I'm like, dude, my dad is a senior citizen, but okay, 60 ain't, but whatever. But there's got to be video that can at least get us most of the way there. What were their last movements like? Was anybody following them? Was anybody with them? Right?
Try to recover surveillance footage, any digital evidence that we can find, and try to put as many pieces of the puzzle together while we're awaiting for that ME ruling. So the work doesn't stop, and I can tell you that from the moment that we get the call, our detectives are on the job, doing the best they can and working as hard as possible. So hopefully I answered your question.
So out of all these bodies that have turned up since 2025, Jade is the only one where y'all see evidence that she entered the water of her own, that y'all got evidence in that case, but none of the others. That's weird. What kind of evidence did she leave on the water's edge that led you to believe she walked in by herself? I'd watch a camera all day, Riley, right?
What can you guys say that'll stop people from talking about this?
Just be responsible. Again, social media is here. It's not going away. Right? Just get facts. Find the reliable news source to make those kinds of determinations. Because
all right, so let's get our facts. So we don't want to be part of the problem. So we're trying to do it responsibly, but we do have theories and we speculate. That's part of what we do. We don't claim to be anything other than that, but we also like to put out the facts. And the fact that you got all these bodies, 24 bodies this year alone, and 6 in 1 week, or a 2-week period, I'm sorry. You gave us some reason to talk about it.
Someone that
responsibly,
it's not even in our community, can post something, make it up with artificial intelligence.
Okay. One thing here at the channel we do not do is AI anything. You'll never see me produce an AI video. You'll never have me use an AI enhancement. AI will never read something for me, and I will never create a thumbnail using a fake AI photo of, I don't know, like Brian Koberger. He gave me 150 of his own selfies to choose from. I like real. I do not like fake. People who choose to use the AI for whatever reason, you go live in your little fantasy worlds. But sir, we're not going to create fake videos. Well, we're not, but I guess that's the biggest concern is that AI fake stuff. So y'all can tell when it's an AI video. Look at them little babies in their eyeballs. Look at the damn Coburger stuff. Y'all can tell. If you can't tell, I can't help you. My God, gotta look at him. He's like he just watched some AI stuff and was convinced it was real. He's like, I don't even know the difference.
And make it seem like it's real, and the data is not even in our.
I watched about probably a good 20 people analyze the crap out of the video that Olivia Gonzalez posted of her sister and best friend inside the corner club, and analyze and analyze and analyze how it's all AI. Look at Kaylee's hand. Look at Kaylee's. The video's as real as it gets, but everybody said it was AI. Look at her hand movement. That's like y'all trying to tell me to watch a video where a man's going to say, oh, they use this one word, they're guilty of sin. They're trying to hide it. They use this one word. They scratch their face. It means something. Get out of here with all of that junk science.
City, it may be somewhere else. So just don't rely on something that you see on one of the social media apps that are spreading misinformation, because all it does is hurts our community. It stokes fear in our community, and we're here to make sure that the community.
Well, I have people I care about who live within your community. I'm not here to put out misinformation or fake anything. We want the truth out, and we want to know y'all are investigating to keep that city safe. People like my friend who happens to be a lifelong resident and deserves to live in a safe city. So does her children and any future grandchildren she may have. How about that, sir?
You feel safe to know that this police department is doing an outstanding job. Every single event is treated with respect for the decedent, for the victims, notifying the family. It is a process for us. We owe it to the victim that we do our very best to make sure that we report the facts. That's all we are, is the fact finders, right? And if there is a crime related to it, then we'll do our very best with a remarkable homicide team, the best in the country, to make sure that we report the right information, because we have to prepare everything for charges, right? So it's just not, like I said, the work doesn't stop, right? So for us, it's important that the community knows, because we're grateful for the resources that the community gives us.
So when they're getting these reports prepared, are they down there interviewing people? Are they going to the homeless camps interviewing? Are they asking questions like, anybody new up here in the camp over the past few months? Anybody making odd statements? Why am I a better investigator right now? Jesus, I missed my calling.
To do this job. And for us as an agency, we respect that and really identify.
I keep getting it backwards, Butterfly. She's near the Austin, not I keep saying Houston, but she's actually over there in Austin. But it's the same. Any community deserves to be safe. And what if it was your community, right? If I wake up today and I hear there's a body turned up, and then tomorrow, and then over the next 2 weeks, there's several more, all of a sudden, we get bodies turn up around here too. We're not immune to that kind of stuff. It happens. Gannon Stock was thrown off a bridge in a suitcase here by Letitia. She thought she was throwing him into the water. She missed just a little bit. And it's a real good thing I wasn't driving across the bridge at midnight that night and run across her ass up there. I passed by his memorial the other day.
Identify with the care that the city gives this department, so we work collectively with the department, with the community, to make sure that the city is safe. And that's our number one priority. That's Mayor John Whitmire's number one priority, is public safety. So
can you imagine you're going to have to tell your kids, and especially if you had a kid in college in this town, you know, the worrying about them, be safe, all the things you would have to tell them over and over, and they would get tired of hearing it, lock your doors and all that. I mean, hopefully they learn all that before they head off to college. But you know how it is when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. You're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Nothing's going to get you. Some kids think about all that, but most don't, unless you reiterate that kind of stuff to your kids. Like, I think I made my 18-year-olds a little too hyper vigilant sometimes, growing up with a mom like me, talking about all kinds of stuff. But I'd rather him be a little hyper vigilant and to be suspicious of people by nature than not to be. That's just dangerous these days.
We're very grateful, and we're grateful for the hard work that the men and women do every single day.
Is there a possibility of possible like trail cams or cameras or anything maybe in the future?
Well, there's already some sort of footprint in different establishments, but the message should be if you know.
Some sort of footprint in establishments. That's not what she asked. She asked about trail cams on the damn trails. But you're going to pop off about these establishments who all had cameras. What?
People shouldn't get into the waterways. They're dangerous. If it rains out west, an inch or two, the waterway, it's incredible. Because I see people, because I actually ride my bicycle on the trails, and I see people on kayaks, right? You get a storm out west, and the water comes somewhere. Those bayous are designed to move water towards Galveston, right? So if you get in it, the water, it may look still on the bottom.
So are you not allowed to kayak out there? Do y'all not have signs and laws against it? You can get a fine for doing it if it's dangerous. We have kayakers here, dude. Don't even play me with that. I don't even know what that is you just said. As somebody raised around an entire area of water, that made no sense to me. If it's not safe and you see them when you're riding your bike, oh look, another idiot out there. You as a sworn police officer don't find that harmful and not protecting your community? Oh, they shouldn't be out there, but we're just going to ride my bike and keep riding.
Underneath it, it's very, very rough water, and then there's debris, branches. Sometimes there's trash that you can just get caught up in, and you can drown in it. So they're very dangerous. I don't recommend fishing. I don't any kind of sport or even getting into it, because again, they're designed to move water, not to be on top of.
Designed to move water and not people? Not to be on top of, meaning don't get in it in your boat. People aren't out there floating in the water unless they're in their kayak. Again, word salad, dodging questions, shifting blame. We're not gonna blame the city and their inadequate trail system here and lack of warning signs about kayaking. We're just gonna blame the idiot people who choose to kayak in the bayou. I'm assuming that might be a thing. I know it's a thing in Lady Bird Lake. You can literally go down there and rent them. So I'm going to check out. When we look at the map, let's notice if we see any kayak rentals down there, if it's a thing or not. And if it's not a thing and it's not allowed, they should implement that, right? And give out little citations for it. Got to keep them people safe, even if you got to charge them.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much. It's important that we get the right information, so very grateful for the time. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We got all the information we needed, a bunch of bodies and with no answers. And a mayor who says a lot of it's mental health and a lot of it's homeless. And they just fall in willy-nilly. Nothing to see here. We got a 2,500 miles of water system. That about sum it up without being, isn't that that's what they said, right? Yeah, do you not have no swimming signs, no kayaking, no paddle boarding? What? He's like, things shouldn't be on top of that water. You can't see what's underneath it. Educate the public on their surrounding waters. They do that here all the time. And it's an ongoing thing because of the Gulf. We know every year we got to double down on that safety because we got people coming who have no clue and it's not their fault. But it's on us to take care of them when they're here to the best of our ability and put up these warning flags and have literally on your nightstand in your hotel room, you're probably going to find information about the beach and safety and what these flags mean. If not in your hotel room, they're going to be in your lobby. They're at the welcome center on the beach. It's a whole thing because we got tired of little kids drowning. We got tired of grown football players, professional football players, almost drowning trying to save his own children. I forgot how long that man was in the hospital. We just got, there comes a point you cannot just say, oh, they're just accidents. You got to do something to prevent the accidents. And knock on wood, one this year. One accidental drowning in the Gulf in my part. I don't know about everybody else. I don't watch the news like that. So it does help. It makes a difference. They need to quit it if they're going to say it's nothing to do with a serial killer. It's just accidents and people taking their own lives. All right. I want to take a look at what this one. Then we're going to take a look at the map for a little bit and see if we can get a visual on the area. Because I'm like, where's these bayous? How are they all falling in? Is it near a rural area? It's Houston, all these things. So I had to go look and get my bearing, as to what's actually happening in there. Now, this was it's not a press, I guess it is a press conference, but it was held by one of the local politicians there in the district, a couple of them actually. And they're challenging and they're pushing back. And they're asking the right questions while trying to get the word out to be vigilant, in case this is something. And also in case it's not, be safe around the water and things of that nature. They really doubled down on all of that. And I thought this was a really good thing here. And I guess this is why the mayor got a little snarky earlier about certain politicians going to come out and make it political. Well, honey, if she can do that and make a difference at the same time, that's what she's supposed to do. She's a politician. Did you not forget? You forgot how to play the game, sir. Hopefully that's not what this is. Not just word salad to make me look good, but I believed in what she says. The message is what should be. The message she put out is what the mayor should have said, in my opinion, but failed miserably at saying. Let me phrase it that way. Okay. So this is are they calling it a meeting about the bayou bodies? All right, here we go.
I want to acknowledge a couple of people that are here. I'm your council member, Letitia Plummer, City of Houston at large, position 4. Council member Shabazz is here. This is her district. We are here. Can you stand closer to me?
Now, this is kind of a lengthy one, so I'm going to be in the chat with you guys as well. And towards the end, it was like, bring it, mama, bring it on home. Y'all will see. But I felt like this was a very good media piece. I don't know if you saw this yet, Butterfly, because Butterfly had sent me a few things over the past couple of weeks of us following Lady Bird Lake and looking into this, because we knew about some bodies that turned up in the bayou a while back. And we were like, is there a link? And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 here's more. So I don't know if you've seen this one yet, Butterfly, but let me hit play on this and let this go ahead and go.
She's here. I did get a phone call this morning for Representative Jolanda Jones. She is in District 147. She currently had a conflict, so she was not able to attend, but she wanted me to explain to the public that she understands the urgency of this conversation, and she will be in touch and ensure that we get some answers out of this. Tamara Bell, Super Neighborhood 83, McGregor President, she is present with us. Al Lloyd, South McGregor Civic Club President, he is present. Travis McGee, he is the South Park Super Neighborhood President and Sunnyside Civic Leader. He has joined us today as well. We have Minister Tyrone Price, Community Engagement Director of City Cathedral Church. We have Charlene Jones, Precinct 136. We're in her district right now, in her precinct currently. And we've got Karen Farber. She's from Buffalo Bayou Partnership. They are here present. If I've forgotten any of our civic leaders or community leaders, my apologies.
Ken Rogers.
Ken Rogers is here as well. Okay. That's great. So what you see here today is a community coming together for a conversation that is past overdue. As a council member at large, I'm the entire city. I live in this community, so this is obviously important to me. But as an at-large member, we have 2,500 miles of bayous in this particular city. So this is not just this particular area. This is everywhere, and this is something we need to be aware of. I want to give a couple of points that we've received, information that we've received. According to what HPD has said, there is no proof that there is a serial killer involved in these killings. Now, I'm saying what we know. Okay, I want to be very, very clear. From the information that we have attained from HPD, that is what they're saying. Police and other city officials have confirmed that there's no evidence of the linking of the deaths that we have seen. The rumors on social media have fueled fear, and what I'm here to do today is, number one, talk to community, ensure that I and my council member Shabazz, it's her district, and our community leaders bring the information to the public in a timely manner so we can eliminate any types of rumors that are traveling around the city currently. In 2025, there have been 15 bodies that have been found in the Houston area bayous, 6 in the last 2 weeks. This year's cases are under active investigation, with many awaiting autopsy reports. Identified cases. At least 2 of the recent victims have been identified, including University of Houston student. I'm going to say her first name, Jade. I do not want to say her last name, but of course it's in the media, but I want to be respectful of herself and her family. Several remain unidentified, and the families need to be notified. And let me explain this, and this is in conversation with the administration, HPD. There are goals and deliverables that are going to be reached and met in the next 7 days. The goal of HPD is to identify these bodies urgently, make sure that their families are aware first, and with the family's consent, then we will make sure that you know who they are. Our goal, though, is to know gender, age, background, to ensure that we understand that the communities are aware of what's going on. But HPD and the administration has assured me, and race, yes, I'm sorry, thank you, Tamara, and race. And where they are, who they're coming from. We don't want to automatically assume these are suicides. We don't automatically want to assume that these young people have taken their lives. That is not fair to themselves or their families. So we don't want to give out any information that is not absolutely factual. Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences is working to determine causes of death. As all of you know, autopsies take a while oftentimes. And so far, autopsies have not shown any evidence of foul play. Houston has over 2,500 miles of waterways. Drownings are unfortunate and uncommon. Many victims may be from vulnerable populations, including unhoused. Some of them may have died from natural causes in these waterways. But the current information is this: we don't want assumptions. This community wants to know what is going on, what is being done, and ensuring that the factual information is given to us in a timely manner, because there's a lot of concerns. A lot of young people are feeling unsafe, and we have to give them the support that they need. Bayous may look calm, but they're extremely dangerous. There are strong undercurrents in these bayous. There's hidden debris, there's sharp objects. Police Diaz has urged residents to avoid from swimming, fishing, or any recreational activities within the bayous. Residents need to remain cautious. Our young people need to understand that if you're walking around in the bayous past dusk, you are putting yourself at jeopardy. You need to, if you're a jogger, if you're a bike rider, as you know, a lot of our bayous, there's an underpass that you can kind of go under to escape the streets. Do not do that. At this time period, go on the street, cross over safely. When it's dark outside, make sure you're in more than one person. Make sure you have your phone, have something that will allow yourself to protect yourself, like something like mace. But make sure people know who you are. Share your location. Don't be secretive. Share your location with your family. It is time to be very cautious and careful during this time while we're getting more additional information. I want to reaffirm that the fears that are from the community are necessary, and they're relevant, and they're important. I'm urging HPD and the administration to make sure that we give the information demographic information to us as soon as possible so that we can kind of dismay some of the fears that are there. I want to thank the residents for showing up and committing to making sure that our communities are safe and are healed. I want to also acknowledge the families of the people that we have lost in these spaces, and I want the families to understand that we are going to make sure that we know what's happened to your loved ones if you're unaware of that, and our office is available to you. Councilman Shabazz's office is available to you. If anyone sees anything, hears anything, please call 911 and let us know what is going on. At this time, I want to pass the mic over to my Councilman Shabazz for any comments.
Thank you and good morning, and thank you, Councilmember and Tamara Bell, for assembling the people of the community. I am Councilmember Carolyn Evans Shabazz, the council member for District D, what I call the District of Destination. Certainly, whenever we have deaths of any kind, it is a concern. I have particularly, this is personal to me, I have a friend a couple of years ago that was found in the bayou down by the police station. And there was never a resolution regarding his death. And so certainly this is very important. I live not very far from this area as well. But I want people to just know that we're not making assumptions just based on assumptions. We are getting information from HPD. I certainly got detailed information regarding the death of Jade. There's evidence that shows that there was nothing done. She was not tampered with in any way with foul play. There is evidence that she actually walked to the location and actually walked into the bayou. And so we are just really, really concerned because we do have two major institutions here, and we want our students to know that we are here for them. If they're having some type of mental issue that makes them feel that they are lost, because at that age, sometimes you feel that no one is listening and no one is there for you. But you are very important, and we want you to grow into adulthood so that you can be great citizens for this city. But we don't want people to panic. But that does not say that we do not want you to be vigilant. You should always be vigilant. I walk in the evenings in this area, and certainly I have to be mindful of my surroundings.
So I wonder what evidence and information they actually shared with her about Jade's death. And what kind of evidence do they have, again, that shows she walked into the water if they don't have it on video? Seeing her walk towards the bayou is one thing, but do you see her walk into that water? What kind of evidence do they have that tells them that? It's insane.
The council member gave wonderful, wonderful things that need to be done. Travel in pairs, which of course I don't, but I walk in my main community. But certainly we have to remain vigilant regardless of what's going on around us, because we are in a major city and things do happen. But we don't want people to panic unnecessarily, but always be mindful of your surroundings. When you get out of the car, look around. I know I tend to get in my car, maybe coming from the grocery store, and decide I want to send a text message. Make sure you lock your car. Someone can jump in the car while you are sitting there doing your text, and they may be armed, and you may not get the opportunity to get out of the car. So we do have to raise the height and heighten our surroundings, our awareness of our surroundings. But again, I thank you. We will stay on top of this. We are engaged with HPD and the Precinct 1 Constable, who has assured me that this most recent death was not foul play. But we don't want anyone to befall a tragedy, regardless if it's at their own hands or at the hands of someone else. So certainly I do thank you, and I thank the community for coming out. And I see Deloy Parker over here with the Shape Center, and he's already aware of things. And we have our seniors. It's not just young people that can befall criminal activity. And so certainly I am thankful that you all are here, because this is how we get the word out. You know, we can do the social media, we can do the Facebook, we can do all of those things, but we rely on the media to get the word out to people that these things are happening. Now, there were several deaths last year, so they're saying that this is not unusual, but we don't want it to happen at all. And so certainly we're going to do what we can to stop criminal activity, period. And so again, I thank you, Council Member, for allowing me to have a few words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And I want to acknowledge former District B Councilmember Dwight Boykins. He's present as well. And thank you so much for being here too. Tamara Bell.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Bell. I am the chairman of McGregor Super Neighborhood 83. I'm former chairman of the Super Neighborhood Alliance for the whole city from Clear Lake to Kingwood. And I appreciate Letitia helping get this to collaborate this, and I appreciate the presence of all of you all here, because you see the community that I'm talking to, they're not happy at all, because you may not know some things, but there are some things that they feel they should have been told. Because, for example, the young lady at University of Houston, I went to her vigil. I don't think there's a student on that campus that's going to believe what was just said.
Oh.
Over 400 kids attended that vigil. This young lady was an honor student. She was a leader at the school. She was multi-talented, and they were like, she was a friend to everyone. So
They done got the wrong one fired up now. That's all I can say.
So when people hear this, and then they hear initially this, before the autopsy's even done, there's speculation about the death and all of this, it does not give them any comfort. And then you have a total of 14 people, 6 in the last. I get it. You are still working on the last 6, but there are some things you could tell the community, because the bodies were pulled from the bayou. They were not burned. You could tell, was it male, what approximate age, what was their race, because people are alarmed. 6, I don't care what happened last year. You had a hurricane last year, so if you found people in the bayou last year, it wouldn't have surprised people. But 6 on clear days in less than 2 weeks, people are alarmed. People are concerned.
Amen. That is alarming.
And they want answers, okay? Because there are answers you could give without doing any forensics. You could look at them and say, just like the young lady they found in U of H's down, the first thing they said was that it was a woman. So people want to know. I attended University of Houston, and I attended University of Houston downtown. Hell, you can't go to class at U of H's downtown without passing the bayou. You got to park at the bottom and walk over the hill. U of H, you got the bayou right here. You got bayous all over this city. We call it McGregor, but people know it's Brays, it's Buffalo Bayou. They call it Grease Bayou. Look, this is alarming to people. I don't do social media. None. Zero. All my imaginary friends I left in pre-K.
Damn it, man. I like that. All my imaginary friends I left in pre-K.
I have none now. This is lit up social media around the country, around the world. This is a concerning event to occur. I mean, it is. So you got to tell us something, because if you don't, people's imagination is going to run whether you get on board or not. You had a press conference Wednesday.
Boy, is she right about that. Them imaginations run rampant when they don't have information. So then by the time they get the information, we can't go backtracking on our story we made up. We'll look stupid. Welcome to Brian Koberger's world.
With the mayor and the police chief, and then the next day, Thursday at 11:30, you find another body. What comfort level are we left with? So I am here to say,
y'all think she'll come on the show and talk to us? I'd just let her roll. Platform her and let her roll.
Tell us more. We want to know. Letitia is right. Young people, I was that way when I was young. They feel they're invincible. They don't even think in their ramifications. With all that's going on, they don't. You do need to be more vigilant. If you see something, say something. Other than that, people, they won't know. But it may not look normal to you, and shouldn't look normal to you, if you see a car parked right next to the bayou. Why the hell are they over there? So say something if you see something.
Thank you, ma'am. You see a car parked over there, and you don't normally see a car parked over there, you better be asking what the hell they doing over there. I do. Y'all see my avatar peeking out the blinds? I live my life like that in real life. That's why when I found that, I'm like, that is so me. That literally describes me in one word. I'm gonna stay in my house where it's safe and peek out my window. And if it's a miss, I'm gonna notice. And I'm taking note of what kind of car that was too, specifically the year, make, and model if I can. I'm gonna get a picture too. So there's no discrepancy later with some grainy footage.
It takes a village. It takes the whole city. And I don't care where you live by a bayou, whether you know it or not. So I'm asking Houston and the surrounding areas because I had no idea. They found 4 bodies in Channelview. Did y'all know that? My friend was at the beautician with one of the mothers of a kid. She said they had ate lunch and he left. 28 years old. 20 days later, his body come up and she don't know what happened. And this was months ago. So it is alarming. You cannot keep silent.
So in another area, they've also found some bodies. I'm gonna look into that a little bit too and see how far this particular area she was just speaking of, how close it is to this area.
Silence. You need to protect the citizens here and start worried about the ones that won't come because this is going on. Thank you.
That's a big thing right there. People see, part of the reason they play word salad is we don't want to lose the tourism or the people who may come visit, those who may hold their conventions here, da 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 da. You name it. We don't need to look bad, no tarnishes, no unsafe streets and all that. You don't want that to look but come on, man. You also come out at the same time and insult people's intelligence when you act like there's nothing to see here. You want the people to come, so make them feel welcome and safe at the same time, that you're doing everything you can. And since it's not a serial killer, you just can fall in accidentally around here. We better take care of that so y'all still want to come later. Do they got good shopping in downtown Houston where all the wealthy ladies can go shop? They might fall into the ravine, so they're not going to go.
Good afternoon. Good morning. My name is Travis McGee. I'm the super.
Oh, I'm on mute. You're not lying about that. And if you're not familiar with the Atlanta child murders, Google it or search it on YouTube. Very, very, very old, but very devastating. I was alive. I remember it well, and I remember those families. Oh, nothing to see there. Nothing was going on there either, was there? No serial killer killing little black children all over town. If it had been little white children, would it have been different? I got to get off that subject before I get all fired up.
Neighborhood president for South Park and also the civic leader for the Sunnyside area. This has been very alarming to us because we have been lacking the who, what, when, where, and how from our elected officials. It's very alarming to have 15 bodies this year, 24 bodies in 2024, and 26 bodies in 2023. That's a total of 65 bodies total in the
65 bodies. 23, 22, 20. I mean, come on. 23, 24, and 25. You got 65 bodies. And it's all because it's not safe to walk around town? Really? 65 dead people in a 3-year period simply because it's not safe to walk around downtown Houston, Texas. Well, y'all, I'm sorry. If you live there, you better just stay at home.
Last 3 years. So there's a whole lot to be alarmed about. The lack of transparency. We just want the basic things that we learned in elementary. Who, what, when, where, how.
Yes, sir. We learned that in elementary. My intro even has that on the screen. Who, what, when, where, how. Inquiring minds want to know. Hey, Jeremiah, welcome in.
So we don't want any assumptions. We want all 65 bodies. We want to know who they were, how they died, and things like that. We want everyone to be dealt with dignity and respect. We don't want to hear.
So you think if they got this going back to 2023, right? Let's just go back that far alone. Where's the statistics on these bodies? As far as the basic information, males, females, ages, and all these demographics on the people who were discovered, or all 65 homeless? Of that 65, what percentage were actually homeless? And the ones that were not homeless, how many of y'all chalked up to mental health illness and just walked in alone? So if they weren't homeless and fell in accidentally or died and got thrown in by their friends, because what else do we do with you, then it was mental health. It's crazy.
They were just homeless. They was in the encampment. We don't know who killed themselves, who drowned, but we want everything to be properly investigated here in the city of Houston. So it's very...
Exactly. They deserve to know where you classified all these deaths. Which ones did you determine were suicide? Which ones did you determine were murder? Which ones did you determine foul play, suspicious circumstance, overdose, all the things, to put people's minds at ease? We don't got to know their personal information, but the stats on them and their deaths and how it occurred matter when you're trying to map serial killers or rule out serial killers.
Very alarming when we hear the word "don't be alarmed." One body is too many. One body is too many. So we want everybody to come together and really find out what's going on here. But we really want transparency here in the city of Houston. In this particular political climate, nothing should be off the table. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you want to say something? I would like you've been a staple in our community.
I just want to say that everything that I've heard makes sense. And I support us doing something, but the most important thing is for us to be consistent. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yes. Let's not wait to find a body to deal with self-defense. Don't wait to find a body to deal with changing the condition. We got to move on it, we got to be active, what is the word?
Proactive.
You got to help me with them.
I know that's right. Hey, we always having a senior moment.
Yeah, we got to be proactive. Don't wait until you find a body. We know the conditions exist in this community that permit this to happen all the time. That means we have to move on that proactively. The civic groups, the organizations, what you're doing, all of us need to come together and move on it and do it proactively. Don't wait until something happens. It's going to happen tomorrow. So we have to be prepared to deal with the next day. We have to work on that. And I say this on behalf of the Shape Center family. We have family, we have children, we have mothers, we have grandmothers, we have elders that meet at Shape every week. And they're potential victims if we don't do something about it.
Right.
So we have to collectively do something about it, and no naming, shaming, and blaming. But let's get on board, all of us on the same ship, okay? In the same direction, okay? We can do it. So I say that, give me this, repeat after me if it makes sense. I am.
I am.
Because we are.
Because we are.
We are.
We are.
Therefore I am.
Therefore I am.
There's no me.
There's no me.
Without you.
Without you.
And there's no you.
There's no you.
Without me.
Without me.
We all part of a family.
We all part of a family.
Of interdependence.
Of interdependence.
Hey y'all, we need each other. Across the board, okay?
Right. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what you're saying. Okay. With that being said, let me give a couple more points that I got from the administration HPD. When a body is found, obviously they have to identify the body. They've got to find their next of kin. There has to be a coroner's report, and then a detective is assigned to that particular person, right? There are people. And then that's, how the information, what we're asking for is basic demographic information. Let me be clear. We want to know age, race, where they're from. We don't need a name. Am I missing anything tomorrow? Race, age, what community they're from, just the basic information. Where were they found? Where were they found? We want the basic information. What I understand, out of the 7 most recent, okay, I want to focus on the 7 most recent, HPD is able to identify 6, well, they're going to identify 6 of them. One of them is severely decomposed, and so it's a little bit more challenging, so we may find a little bit later on that particular person, but their goal and task right now.
One of the big things they could come out and tell, or at least try they should be trying, the authorities, to figure out how long these bodies were in the water. And I get decomp. We discussed enough true crime here. I get it, but they can also tell. And there's a clip that we're going to be watching if we get to that part today, where they're going to be talking about something found on one of the victims that made you wonder, how long had these bodies been in the water after they were killed? So there's a whole lot to try to figure out. So even if you go back to the theory, or like in Austin, the theory that they were entering bars and being drugged at some point without their knowledge, and then followed out of the bar, right? And lured down to the lake, or walked down, or whatever, or just ended up down there because it's literally right there. All that's important to figure out, because this might not be anything but a bunch of tragedies, which I find it hard to believe. But yeah, there's a lot of information they could be trying to glean from these bodies alone and compile those statistics. And I think she's done a really good, fair job of not attacking the local administration, but also calling them out at the same time. And she's done 1,000% better job of getting information to the people in a way they can understand it and relate to it, even about being safe out there, just in case we have something on our hands, right? Good props to this lady and her team here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Riley. That's what they're saying. There was 20-something bodies last year alone. There's been 65 bodies since 2023. So they were found some this year, the 16 this year, 20-something from last year, and 20-something from the previous year. So this is not just something that started, right? It's been happening for a hot minute down there. And so all she's going to now do is reiterate what the police want her to tell people about how their process. Like, they keep thinking we don't get it, and they got to continue to tell us the process. So we'll calm down and be patient and wait. Be patient, people. But it's like the guy said, we are alarmed when we hear "don't be alarmed." That's when we're all like, excuse us, now we're alarmed. You shouldn't have said that. You should have come out and said, we're doing an investigation. Here's what we're doing. All right, I want to take a look at this one location here on the map before we look at the next segment. This is going to be the area where Jade was found. It has to be, hang on a minute. Okay, there we go. Screen up here. Now, she was found, we didn't even see the clip where I don't know if I still have it saved. I mean, I got it saved, just got to go look for it. I thought I had it set up to play earlier. But there is video camera footage of her. We're going to look at the bar she was last seen at. And then she walks across the street to the gas station where she bought the drink. And then she leaves and walks toward the water, and then out of the camera's view and never to be seen again. That's when she disappeared. I think it was September 11th. And then she was found 4 days later. But she was found 2.5 miles away from where she was last seen. Now, I understand that the current and the water alone can move a body down. So that's not... So that's the thing with bodies in the water. Where you find them is probably not where they were placed into the water, right? They were probably placed at another location into the water and maybe went down a little. Not in all cases, but in probably a lot of them. All right, so this is a South McGregor Way. You guys can see that. It's also on the other side is North McGregor, and that's the side where she was found. Here's the restaurant. LA Burgers and Daiquiris was the restaurant she was at that night. And then here's this Shell gas station where they see her on camera. And she doesn't have a bag with her, no purse, no backpack, nothing. She literally walks into the gas station, buys the drink, and she leaves. I guess she had a little debit card. Well, I don't know. You can't see her holding anything. They didn't find anything with her. That's what they reported anyway. But then she leaves the gas station and walks toward the bayou here. Now I don't know if she was headed under because see the bridge. Let me see if we can get the street view. Okay, there's the gas station there. I know it looked like she walked toward that direction, going that way, but let me go over here. Okay. See, there's the water. Like literally, right there. And then the restaurant was right down there. Okay. So she goes over there, she gets her drink, and then instead of going back to the restaurant where her friends were at with her phone, she leaves and walks across the parking lot towards the water. Now, if she ended up in the water right here in this location, did she get up on this trail and start walking down, or did she go in right here? Is there a camera on this end? Looking out over that way, right there. Right there. Whoops, come back here, camera. We know where you're at on these buildings most of the time. Right there. Or is that not? Because there's a thing there. I think that is. A lot of them have them on the edges like that. But I don't see, I can't tell for sure if that's a camera. And those are lights under. But I know there's a camera in the front because it saw her going across the parking lot across this way, which was over toward here. Now, if you go here, you can see the path. You can see what I called the ravine. I was like, that is a bayou, but it leads out to the bayou, okay? And they have the walking paths all around. Now, if you go this way, these are apartment complexes back here on McGregor. And I wondered, okay, did she walk this way? The location that they say she was found was in the 3700 block, which is back by the gas station. But what if she came further down, right, and then entered the water down there? None of these apartments appeared to have cameras. This one might, but none in the front. There was one building I looked at, and I was shocked because there was absolutely no cameras, none on the corners, none in the centers. I was like, dang, they really are a city of take your risk. There's lights there. I really can't tell what that is. And it won't zoom in any further. So I don't know if they would have a lot of good cameras down there. Remember when he was asked about cam systems on the trails, he wanted to pop it off under the responsibility of the businesses in the area. Well, they all had cameras. We're asking about your trails specifically. One thing I'm noticing are these small like path lights maybe, but there's no taller, well, I guess that's a street light. I don't see any warning signs about you can't get in the water. Now look, if you go down this road, it looks like a storm drainage ditch, exactly. And those feed into the bayou. So I think, now there are larger areas. I'll show you. Let me back out. Let me show you. So there's going to be a lot. It feeds right in. Let me show you. Okay, there's other areas where the area of the water is much larger. Now, Bray's Bayou is over here, and that's where one was found. A body was found there as well. Let's see. Because I know when I was looking at the map, I was noticing these little ravine-looking things. And I was like, what in the world? But I found you could follow them and find where they feed to, right? Okay. So this is called Bray's Bayou Park. And that doesn't even look deep enough for someone to accidentally drown in. And look, even if you're up on the path riding your bike and there's maybe no guardrails there, there's a lot of green grass between the path and the water's edge, and then you got to go down the slope. So are grown people running up on these things and oh, didn't stop in time, falling in and can't get up out of a couple feet of water? It's so strange. I don't know what that is. Now, it's not going to be safe to be out there alone at night. Look, there's no lights. I'm not seeing any lights. Except from the city lights, I guess. They're just big old tall building there, so there's not warning signs. Look, there's no railing here of any sort. I wouldn't need the rail to know to stay away, but still, I guess some people might. Let's take a look at another location, because there was another location in September 15th where the first one of the 6 were found, right? The 6 that were found back to back. I wanted to really see, because those all seem to be in a little more concentrated area as far as in that relation as being how close they were together. And like the lady was speaking earlier, to give them exact locations, because you know how some serial killers will have their dumping ground. Horman had his, Gilgo Beach, right? It could be important, and it could mean nothing at all at the same time. Okay. Oh, why isn't that working? Goodness gracious. And it's a lot of people down in here. Remember, guys, they got over 2 million people in this city. There's a lot of people moving around at all hours of the day and night, probably. And some of these weren't found like in the middle of the night. Like, again, we don't know when they went into the water with all of them and the circumstances, but I just find it, there's a lot of people around, you know. So this is the White Oak Bayou area. Let me get this map pulled up. Okay. Actually, I wanted to see, stop. I want to see if it'll take me closer. That thing's getting on my nerves. Let me just do this. I wonder why this maps acts different on my phone than it does on my computer. It's so annoying. All right, so here you got a path with some bike route signs. So you go this way. All right, there's some rails. And you're going to cross water here. And look, they have it where you can go down there, and there's ways to walk down there as well. Oh, okay, cool. Wow. Yeah, that's not something I don't want to venture off into in the nighttime by myself, right? Nothing good happens after dark. And the bad people are going to be out there lurking, looking for opportunity. I'm not about to put myself in the middle of all that. Why do they even allow them to go down there near it in certain areas? You know, it's like you got 2,500 miles of bayou. Do they need access to all of it? So there's a parking garage there. Where's this bayou? See, over here, is it going to let us go this way? Hold on. Let me see if no. Let's look back. And that one, see how it wraps around and it'll continue to flow out. And then you're under the bridge system here. We have that around here. We had a car the other day literally coming down around the interstate, getting ready to get off in downtown Pensacola, and sailed right off that baby, right into the water. He didn't get hurt, thank goodness. It's rare, but it happens. I forgot what happened. Pictures of that was insane. But there's a lot. Look, there's people walking around in the daytime. They apparently access these walking trails a lot, especially if you've got a college campus downtown. So you're going to have a lot of activity of students moving around all hours of the day and night. A lot of businesses with cameras that are in the area. Sciences and Technologies building from the university. There's a camera way up there. Or is that a light? Or is that an antenna? Satellite alarm? Alarming is alarming. Because see, the downtown campus is spread about down there. Remember when she was speaking earlier about how you have to be all around the bayous when you're on campus? The only one that we know of that was a student was Jade, the one female victim. I looked around on some of the map images that I found when I was trolling around, like under the bridges and stuff, because we found evidence of the homeless camps in Lady Bird Lake just from doing that alone. You can Google all kind of stuff. I haven't seen any yet. I know they're here because I've heard so much about it, but I didn't see any. So I trolled around some of the bayou ways around some of the places they were talking about. Let's see if it'll work like this. If it'll, while I've got it up, if it'll still type. 'Cause sometimes it won't. It won't pull up the thing correctly. This was another area where someone was found. This was the Jensen Street, or Jensen Drive as it's called, and it was close enough. Jensen is here and it crosses the bayou. See how much wider that body of water is compared to those little ravine looking things we were seeing in the other part of the town over on McGregor where Jade went missing. That area had the ravine type situation, but this area doesn't. It has the much larger part of the bayou. And this one goes across the bayou. And see, you can tell how much bigger and wider it is on this side, which is going to tell you it's deeper as well. So there's different areas of the bayou woven through the town, right? The ravines that feed into the bayou, and then the bayou that feeds down back toward Galveston Bay, and eventually out toward the Gulf. You know, Gilgo Beach, he took his victims out ways away from his home to the dump site. Koberger never made nothing but outside the one house. Is this... when we first started looking into Lady Bird Lake, I thought to myself, if you're a serial killer, would it make sense to put your bodies in the water? What statement are you trying to make with that? Why the water? I don't know that answer, but I'm intrigued by why the water. Why do you think that that's okay, that you won't get caught, right? Wouldn't you be in the back of your mind always trying to stay one step ahead, not wanting to get caught? Like Brian Koberger, I probably need to sell my car now. They're on to this car. I need to wipe my data on my phone. They'll find out. Huerman, I need to plan not to have DNA in the future, but yet he throws his pizza out. He had a whole planning document. Mistakes I made in the past, don't do it again. So your end game is to always try not to get caught. So if you are just throwing your bodies into the water, are you positive there's going to be nothing there to find? You know what I mean? Other than maybe some drugs in their system, there's no physical evidence from you. Are you uneducated in the ways of forensic science and you are unaware that you could leave something behind as far as trace evidence? I don't know. It's hard to explain a killer's mindset if that's what we have here. But I had to wonder that, why the water, right? Does that mean something? Did you have an issue with water growing up, baby? Did mama not bathe you, overbathe you? There's a lot of, yeah. Faster decomp in critters. Good reasoning. I mean, you're not wrong, right? It'll affect the outcome of the body. And could it hide evidence as well as retain evidence, like on clothing or something, like a fiber or a hair woven in that didn't get dislodged? But to speed up the decomp, to have the insects come and do their thing, and break that body down, there could be a whole host of reasons for choosing that. And because if you try to get your mind inside of a killer, you got to try to figure out, it never makes sense, right? Murder never makes a darn bit of sense, but you got to try to figure out why they do what they do sometimes. And I often wondered that, why the water? What's so special about the water? Was it just for trying to hide the body, decomp, stuff like that? Or was it a convenience? Or was there something in your past about the water? You never know. Sometimes their reasonings are just like, what? We have a whole host of serial killers who've been very honest, brutally honest about their behavior, but these people in Idaho are convinced Koberger is going to lie if he starts talking. Yep, some do bury theirs. What was Hierman wrapping them in burlap and burying, right? And then they found that stash of ladies' purses and wallets and stuff. Was it Jones Beach? I think it was. I have to go back to my notes to double check that. Maybe he didn't feel like being a hole digger, right? It's like, I'm not doing all that. That's a lot of work. This is easier. I don't know. Okay. We're gonna read something quickly. Well, not quickly, but we're gonna read something before I move on. So when I was looking up things on Saturday morning is when I saw this, and I was like, oh, I need to read this. And so I read it, and I was like, oh, there's a news piece I have about it as well. Okay. Let me share my screen so you guys can see what I'm reading from. Okay. So this is from Wikipedia, but I also have more to go with it. Yes, the channel friends are awesome, right? We got boots on the ground all over the place. We're getting there. Nice. And we'll take it, ma'am. We'll take it. And if we get confused about a location, don't think I won't hit you up. Explain this to me. I gotta know my surroundings wherever we're at. I feel like I know other towns way better than my own sometimes. I don't go anywhere anymore. And I'm like, oh, when did that happen? I go to town the other day and we got a whole new restaurant. Like, nobody told me. Y'all know I like to go eat. Smiley face killers redirects here. Okay, wait, start here. The smiley face murder theory, also known as the smiley face murders, smiley face killings, and smiley face gang, is a theory advanced by retired New York detectives Kevin Gannon and Anthony Dorate, as well as Dr. Lee Gilbertson, a criminal justice professor and gang expert at St. Cloud University, or State University, sorry. It alleges that 45 men found dead in bodies of water across several Midwestern American states from the late 1990s to the 2010s did not accidentally drown. Now, what are they saying most of these cases were over here in Texas? Drownings. As concluded by law enforcement agencies, but were victims of one or more multiple serial killers. The term smiley face became connected to the alleged murders when it was made public that the police had discovered graffiti depicting a smiley face near locations where they think the killer dumped the bodies in at least a dozen of the cases. Gannon wrote a textbook case study on the subjected title, Case Studies in Drowning Forensics. The response of law enforcement investigators and other experts has been largely skeptical. As recently as 2017, Gannon and Durate were examining evidence going back to the late 1990s. They believe connects the deaths of 45 college-age males whose dead bodies were found in waters in 11 states, often after leaving parties or bars where they had been drinking. Oh, much like the Austin victims. The men, according to the former detectives, often fit a profile of being popular, athletic, and successful students and were mostly white men. Well, that's a change from the Austin victims who were not all homeless, but were young. Some were in gay bars, some were not. Now, if this is a group of people acting as one all over the country, their particular types may be different. So this particular era in the 90s, they were looking for popular, athletic, successful students. Everything they weren't, maybe. Gannon and Durate have theorized that the young men were all murdered either by an individual or by an organized group of killers. How frightening is that? The term smiley face became connected to the alleged murders when it was made public that Gannon and Durate had discovered graffiti depicting a smiley face near locations where they think the killer had dumped the bodies, in at least a dozen of the cases. Furthermore, Gannon and Gilbertson claimed to have found other types of graffiti symbols associated with the suspicious deaths, but have not disseminated the other images outside of a few trusted law enforcement contacts for fear of inspiring copycat graffiti and alerting the suspects. But the demographics are different. Yeah, they are. Now look at this though. So we haven't heard of any of the no graffiti around Lady Bird Lake. I saw some. Found that I noticed it right away, and I didn't even know about this story back then. There was this one particular spot we were looking at, and there was graffiti, so I zoomed in and had to look and see what was on it. I don't recall seeing a smiley face. I'll have to go back and look now, darn it. So I guess there were other images left behind too, and they don't want to publicize that for the very reasons they say, tipping off suspects and alerting copycats. But I haven't heard of any evidence of graffiti found in and around Houston or Austin. But that's not to say they've stopped doing that or if they've changed up their methods, if they actually exist. Other police forces have investigated the deaths to dispute the conclusions that the cases are linked. Police departments that are involved do not currently view the deaths associated with smiley face present at the scenes as a serial killer activity. The La Crosse, Wisconsin Police Department, which was in charge of 8 of the investigations, concluded the deaths were accidental drownings of inebriated men and stated that no smiley face symbols were found in connection with any of those cases. The Center for Homicide Research published a research brief that also attempted to scientifically refute the theory. In March of 2009, Lee Gilbertson, a criminal justice faculty member at St. Cloud State University, voiced his support for the theory of an episode of Larry King Live in which he alleged murders were discussed. They was on Larry King Live? I wonder if we click that, will it take us to it? Y'all remember Larry King? Pat Brown's entered the building, ma'am. Criminal profiler Pat Brown calls the serial killer theory ludicrous. I figured she would. I'm just being honest. I'm nothing but transparent. I didn't say I didn't like her. I'm just saying I figured. I've known her since the 80s. That's how far back we roll, ain't it, Miss Brown? arguing that the evidence does not fit what is known about serial killers. Brown also believes that the smiley face images found in some of the cases are likely nothing more than coincidences based upon guesses as to where the bodies entered the water. Okay. Well, with smiley face graffiti only found after a wide area search. It's not an unusual symbol, she told Minneapolis-based newspapers, this one newspaper. If you look at an area 5 miles square, I bet you find a smiley face. Gilbert's, I don't know what kids are putting on, what they're tagging with these days. Gilbertson and Gannon have disputed the idea that smiley face graffiti is commonplace, saying they examined many areas nationwide that they were not associated. I wonder if they got a map out of where these locations were, right? Where these bodies were found in relation to these smiley face graffiti art left behind. The Federal Bureau of Investigations issued the following statement. The FBI has reviewed the information about the victims provided by 2 retired police detectives who have dubbed these incidents the smiley face murders and interviewed an individual who provided information to the detectives. To date, we have not developed any evidence to support links between these tragic deaths or any evidence sustaining the theory that these deaths are the work of a serial killer or killers. The vast majority of these instances appear to be alcohol-related drownings. The FBI will continue to work with local police in affected areas to provide support as requested. Maybe we should educate all these young people in America who watch their parents drink a cocktail at the end of a hard day. May not be the way to handle the end of a hard day after all. FBI National Press Office FBI statement regarding Midwest river deaths. Sounds like alcohol education and safety around water should be our biggest topics right now. Ruben Rosario of the St. Paul Pioneer Press has questioned Gannon's motives. Oh, we questioning motives? Stating that Gannon has failed to provide any factual evidence that a group of killers exist. Well, I do got questions for Mr. Gannon because I feel like he may be lone wolfing it these days. I don't know why. Something always happens to cause the lone wolf situation when you were initially a team. I'm still looking into that. Rosario noted that Christy Pale, the original reporter on the theory, and some of the parents of the deceased have since expressed skepticism despite initially supporting the idea. Another parent, Kathy Gabe, is working with Pill and others, but their main goal is to convince police to take a second look at these cases of alcohol-related drownings. Why, if it wasn't alcohol, then what was it? I mean, I get wanting to take a second look, but you don't believe there's a serial killer group at the same time. Okay. Gannon and Durate's investigation is the subject of a 2019 docuseries, The Smiley Face Killers: The Hunt for Justice, which aired on Oxygen Television. I did not see that. The six episodes, goodness, focus on cases of young men who've disappeared. I'm going to have to watch that, guys. I'm going to try to find it. If we play Oxygen on the channel, we're going to get a big old strike, but I will share where we find it. Here's the link. Go watch. Put it on your watch list. British detective show Scott and Bailey had a series of episodes based on the deaths and ensuing theory. The 2017 novel Three Will by Dan Shayon features a series of mysterious deaths involving drunk young white men whose bodies are found at the bottom of creeks and rivers. An episode of documentary series Breaking Homicide referenced the theory. In another film, Smiley Face Killers of 2020, Bret Easton Ellis. Okay, I guess there's some movies. You saw the documentary, Rach? I'll check it out. I like stuff like that. I love to find stuff like that to watch, especially when I am bored, just want to lay in my bed and listen to something. Like, not even look at it, just close my eyes and listen. It's my jams. I listen to some crazy, wild stories that we don't even get a chance to talk about on this channel. My goodness. There are some crazy things that happen out there. And I'm like listening to it going, I'm talking out loud to myself going, damn, what? You gotta be kidding me. And they thought they could get away with it. That's usually the kind of conversations I'm having. All right. And I like it when I hear about smart investigations and good cops. I don't like looking at always thinking there's a bad investigation. I don't like being that person, regardless of the way it may sound sometimes. Okay. This one says there's a dark current in Houston's bayous. This year with 16 bodies recovered, 5 of them in the same week last month. Now we know there was 6. City leaders are downplaying speculation about a potential serial killer, but retired Sergeant Kevin Gannon, he's with the New York PD or was, has long espoused the theory that a group of killers known as the smiley face killers is responsible for all these deaths. Now, not only there, across the country. Now, they suspect and allege with the birth of social media, these guys were connecting through social media, like your Discord apps and things of that nature. Telegram. Telegram's probably a big one. Stefan Stearns knows all about the Telegram. You were putting something on the Telegram hours or right after you put Maddie to bed, right after you tucked her in all nice and cozy and all that mess. About an hour later, you was posting something onto the Telegram, that encrypted website where it all is hard to recover, where they network. The dark side, the bad people, they have their communities too. City leaders are downplaying the speculation. Okay. We've never seen drowning numbers like this before, especially with a drowning occurring every other day in the same location. Again, in an area that has always been surrounded by water. Are they just not teaching water safety anymore? Oh goodness, there's a body on the ground. This body was recovered from the White Oak Bayou near the Heights in Houston on October 8th. Okay, so Gannon examines the dates, the times, and locations, along with other details when judging whether he believes the Smileys may be involved. Y'all, we got some research to do on these Smileys. And the pattern fits in Houston. For the most part, he said, except for the fact that some of the victims were in their 60s. This is an aberration and not the normal age of our 700 plus potential victims. Again, all over the country, according to his theory. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't be involved in killing these elder individuals also, as they feel like they are pretty invincible right now and act without impunity due to the police response. Or you mean lack of? If they perceive there's a lack of police response, that gives them the okay to keep going. I think that Rex Sherman got real comfortable with that for years and years and years. All the corruption within Suffolk County, all the balls dropped during these random investigations of sex workers turning up dead. He got real comfortable in knowing they're not going to investigate all that too much. It's going to be minimal at best. Except for that one man, one officer who continued to go back out there over and over to look for Shannon with the search dog and stumbled upon all those victims. Hats off to you, sir, because people like that are not propped up enough in this true crime community. So if I see a good cop doing a damn good job, absolutely, I'm here for it. We need you down here in Houston, sir. Can you bring your dog? We got some tracking to do. Under the controversial smiley face killers theory, a mysterious but organized gang of serial killers is believed to target young men, many of them in college fraternities, and dump their bodies in the water. As the theory goes, they mark the scenes with graffiti. It places most of their activity in the Midwest and Northeast, in big cities and college towns near the water. So it sounds like this particular group, if this is a real group, they're not out to get the women who won't talk to them, but they're out to get the boys who they can't be. Are they all getting into their little group together and complaining about how society's been not nice to them? And these frat boys got it made. It places most of their activity in the Midwest and the Northeast, in big cities and college towns near the water. The bayou running through Piney Point Village on Friday 18th, April 18th in Houston. So there's another image of what one of the little bayous there looks like. That damn, all this mess. Get out of here. So again, they've said no signs of foul play. We know. All right. I just wanted to read you a little more about what that guy was, what this cop whose theory is. I have another piece that I wanted to watch today, but we're going to do that tomorrow because it's kind of lengthy. I need to go through it and make sure that it's okay for me to present here on the channel. I'm not worried about getting a strike from anybody. It's another channel's piece that I found, but I'm not familiar with them. I don't even know what's up with all of it. So before I present it to you guys, I want to take a look at it a little more in depth and make sure. And if I decide it's something I can't play on the channel or just don't want to play live, I will put the link in the community tab, because from the little bit of it I listened to this morning, it's going to be a good discussion, and it's about this theory and about the officers involved in the theory, right? Backstory on that whole thing, because I want to hear more about it. I'm not trying to scare the public and the people of Houston with all of this, but they have to be. That's what we do here. We just dig around. If there's something there, we want to see it. Let's see what chat's got going on. I watched a 48-hour episode this weekend out of Indiana. Yes, Andy's, no, his Twitter was putting it out there too, and I know somebody else saw it too that I am familiar with. So that is one of the Delphi attorneys, and I kind of lost his Twitter from this morning as I was looking at it when he was talking about being on there. I'd heard that it happened, Butterfly, and then I saw it tweeted out this morning, or maybe it was yesterday at some point. But one of his other clients, they were on there talking about that case, but I have not watched it. Yeah, a botched crime scene. That's what I'm. I don't know much of the backstory on it, but I do want to watch that and check it out. I put so much stuff on my watch list sometimes, and then I usually get to it late at night or in the middle of the night. I might go to sleep and sleep 3 hours, and I'm awake, and I got to have something to listen to. Yeah, guys, I don't know what's going on over there in Houston and in the Austin area around these waterways, but I just can't believe when officers come out and the community leaders and the appointed officials with arrogance and attitude, and they immediately come after social media. Then it irritates me with the bad parts of social media because, man, y'all are making it hard for all of us, right? But then again, there's bad parts to mainstream media. There's been well-known and well-liked mainstream media personalities throughout the years that have committed plagiarism and done other things they had to admit to later when people had the utmost respect for them. Oh, we could trust them. Turns out we couldn't. Things like that. So you never know. But it's bad enough when they already have distrust of us because we're willing to sit here for 3 hours and have a discussion and openly debate something is a nervous problem for them. That's what I can say. We can't help what these YouTube streets say and do, can we? No more than they can. So just because that might happen doesn't mean you don't get to come out and give information to the public. If you want to tamper that down and cool the temperature, then you need to get a better way to communicate with media, social media, and families, and your other community leaders who are looking at you saying, no, we need more. like the lady we saw earlier. Very well spoken, very well, sound like she was well educated. She had it together. She knew what to say and what to ask for. She knew how to bring that community together, get them to stay vigilant, not to panic, and also for you to gather statistics on your victims so we can see if we got a problem here. That is what you should do. And that's what they should have come out and said, we're doing, people. We got you. You can trust us. But instead, they want to come out and say, social media, you're crazy. Stop cranking up the internet. Stop worrying the people. My God, stop it. Well, how about making your city safe so people don't just fall into the water everywhere, and then we wouldn't be making fun of your unsafe city? Either I make fun of your unsafe city, or I wonder if you got something bad happening and we need to help protect them. I don't know. It could go either way. Right? Riley says, the mayor speculated more. Guys, I don't know what's happening with your names. The YouTube's being some kind of way today. She's all up in her feels or something. On the back end in my YouTube studio, they are doing some test runs on some things. I've had to watch a few videos lately of different things, for my warnings for content creators and different things they're rolling out and trying and attempting. So I don't know what's going on with your names. Is YouTube's being YouTube's. They're telling me that I can now post into chat these little pictures that are on my phone, but when I tapped one to try it, it tells me it couldn't. It can't enter this content. Or why are you trying to point it out then? So I don't know what's up. Is that the case they were talking about last time he was on there? I haven't watched Defense Diaries in a long time. I'll be honest, I haven't watched any lives in a long time. I listened to a couple of replays on a couple of things, but only on stories I'm kind of following. We don't like botched crime scenes and things of that nature because it throws a curveball into to the investigation. Then you run the risk of not catching the person or catching the wrong person. And where's the justice in that, right? We can't have botched crime scenes, bad investigations, and nothing to see here for the rest of our lives. We're not doing it. Butterfly giving out advice. And y'all take it if you go. Like my advice, if you come to the Gulf, watch the flags. And then there's that one that's going to tell you about the marine life. And yes, those jellyfish, they do sting. Don't pick it up. You don't know how many times I've been on the beach laughing at tourists thinking that jellyfish is cute enough to pick up and watching how fast they drop it. It's like, oh, goodness. They're not going to be feeling good the rest of their trip. But anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to go for the day. We've been on here for a few minutes. I'm going to review that one piece I wanted to look at. If we can get it on, we'll do it in the morning. If not, I'll link it for you guys to go and watch. We'll keep following up on the case as new information comes down, as usual. We'll keep an eye on the other cases we're following. And I'm working on a few things coming up for this week as well. In the morning, we'll also go over, when I go live in the morning, I am going to go ahead and go over those few documents that come down in the Koberger case to get them to stay caught up there and to get it out of the way because it's not that important. I mean, kind of is, but kind of not. All right. Y'all, thanks for hanging with me. Y'all know I can be a little whatever sometimes. All right, y'all go have a great day. Please, if you did not hit the like button on the way in, if you like what you heard and you stuck around for the whole show, at least hit it on your way out. It really helps. And I know it's easy to forget sometimes. I like the reminders throughout the show when I'm watching a live because I'll forget. Like I could be watching Publicly Buzz. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get the like button because I don't always remember to do it when I first come in, but I always like to do it to show I'm supporting. So appreciate all of you for hitting the like button and coming, being part of the conversation, right? That's what we like around here. All right, guys, I'll be back in the morning, probably between 9:30 and 10 as usual. I'll see you then. You guys have a great afternoon. Be safe on them YouTube streets.
Thank you.